Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. This week, we have a special guest joining us to talk about world progression, his experience with it, and the fact that he's diving back into it. And we're also going to be talking about the patch 3.2 trailer and some of the other interviews. Woo! There's like a few other little facts that came out in interviews this last week, some PvP stuff. You know, the usual. But first, I am one of your hosts, Michael Mr. Happy Poperomo, and joining me as per usual, Slyh, aka Slythefox, aka Slyakagreyfox, aka you, my boy Blue. How you doing, Slyh?
No nickname this week?
No.
Are we saving it for our special guest?
We're saving it.
Okay.
We're saving it.
You have one prepared?
Well, Mel had one prepared. I'm just going to use that one.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, what? Did you expect that wasn't what I was going to say? As soon as you heard I was giving you a nickname, you should have known.
I should have.
Yes. And joining us as a special guest this week, you may remember seeing him a few times over on Mog Talk, another Final Fantasy XIV podcast. It's Layla Bell, a.k.a. Mel, my girlfriend's ex-Valentine / ex-internet boyfriend, or internet boyfriend. I'm going to say ex-internet boyfriend because you broke her heart with that Valentine's Day thing. When you
She broke my heart.
Yeah, she broke your heart.
Yeah.
And I went to the
Godfather?
wrong scene. You know what? That's the
Broke
best
my
thing. I
heart,
went to the
Mel.
wrong scene. I went to my live stream scene, so it was just a black screen for a second right there. That was interesting. I had to screw up the intro somehow, right?
Yeah.
It's like customary. How you doing, Layla?
Incident 0.
Incident 0. You doing good tonight, Layla?
Doing well. Excited to be here. Glad you invited me on. Should have a lot
Glad
of
you
fun.
said yes. I was just like, let's just ask him. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, I was excited.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. Like, very excited. Always professional here on the show. Well, we definitely want to talk about the 3.2 trailer at some point during the show because, I mean, like, everyone's talking about it. I don't know about you guys. I've watched it, like, maybe 15 times.
Watched it a lot.
10.
Yeah. 10?
10.
Amateur.
Whatever.
It's okay. It's all right. But first, we actually want to talk to our special guest, Layla. A lot of you have probably seen when he was on Mog Talk and he talked about, Elysium and being in the World Prog group and what it was like and about Alexander versus Coil. We're going to be asking Layla a little bit more about, how it's been, leaving the scene. Because, I mean, Group 1 broke up. I mean, that's what everyone calls them, Layla. They're Group 1 or
Group 1.
Updog. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that people, the Updog joke, that was a joke that was a year and a half in the making. And I'm glad that we finally were able to publicize it.
I'm glad you were too, because I remember when the A4 Savage World first came out, the very first comment said,
What's up, dog?
I loved it. I loved
Not
it.
much. How about you?
God, it was so embarrassing.
It does sound embarrassing.
Oh, man. But, I mean, it was still world first A4 Savage. I mean, I was just clearing A4 Savage, and we were having pretty much a spaghetti night. And when we were finally about to beat it after, like, a bunch of fails, I was like, come on, 50K. Come on.
50K. 20K.
20K. Yes! Yes! Sorry, I had to muffle it a little bit because I don't think I can match you
The nerd screams?
and Leroy in any way.
Yeah, it's mostly, so those nerd screams, they're mostly Leroy, but I definitely get involved. Colby sees a lot of play in the nerd screams. People don't know that. They don't hear him behind me and Leroy.
They don't know what Colby actually sounds like. So one of those
Yeah,
voices in
pretty
there
much.
is
Leroy has a very distinctive voice, and then I'm usually just the loudest. So
we fucking did it! It's Miu who is completely overshadowed by everyone.
yeah, Miyu and Sinov generally are the ones who are quietly in the 2 healers, quiet in the back.
Yeah, and considering what A4 Savage requires, the irony in that is pretty staggering.
I mean,
I know what it is. I think the DPS yell louder because they're fucking bored. The whole
You
fight.
think so?
I don't know about Leroy.
I wasn't bored, but Leroy might have been.
Fold and Chia probably bored out of their fucking minds just on the boss. Like, oh my god, do the mechanics.
You can distinctly hear Chia in that clip. He gets quite emotional.
He's so happy. He's like, I don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, it's good to talk about A4 Savage as a memory, but you were out of the race after that. You Group 1 broke up back in, what was it, October?
Updog split up. We went our separate ways pretty much back in October. Yeah. We got everyone their Godwalker mounts, and then basically decided to take a break from the game.
Now, did you know that? Did you ever think that you would be hopping back in, or were you just like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out"?
Well, so here's the thing that a lot of people don't actually know. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to talk about it. We actually had planned to call it quits before A4 Savage had even died. We had planned for that to be our last hurrah. Sometime around A3 Prog, we basically had a discussion before we zoned in, like, hey, I don't know if we should keep doing this anymore. Let's finish this up, finish what we started, but I've got other things that I want to be taking care of right now. So we actually knew before we even started the manipulator that was going to be our last fight together as a group. But once we felt that we owed it to everyone in the party to at least get them all their Godwalkers, because pugs weren't clearing it yet, so we wanted to make sure that they were getting access to the Godwalker that a pug group wouldn't be able to give them access to. So we wanted to make sure we got everyone their Godwalkers, got everyone the weapons they needed, and whatnot before we actually decided to formally split it off.
Now, do you still keep in touch with some of the members of the group?
Oh yeah. We've kept our Skype group fully intact. Everyone's still a member. We talk on a daily basis, actually.
So a bigger question is the gang getting back together?
The gang
final hurrah?
No, the gang is not getting back together. The members that are gone are not coming back.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, you're playing with some of them though, aren't you? In
yes.
Your new group. Who from the OG 8 is in that group?
Well, there's 4 members of Updog still playing the game, 3 of which I'm currently playing with. Myself, Fold, and Muni are playing together for 3.2, and then she is playing with Team K-pop, your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I'm well aware of. That was one I had accounted
just
for.
to fill you in.
Yeah, just in case I forgot Chia was.
You haven't checked the party list in a while.
No, I mean when I'm in A4 Savage and we're practicing Nisi, it's like I'm just here.
It's just target dummy, right?
Just fucking. It's like fucking turn 7 Savage all over again as a melee DPS.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's funny in the Skype group. So Colby is someone I actually in some way stay in touch with quite a bit. Why was your
really?
stream last night powered by Colby technology?
So my stream, that's funny. So my stream title last night, I was doing a very long stream yesterday. I was, Layla powered by Colby technology. It's because Colby, out of the goodness of his Canadian heart, mailed me his old graphics card. And I've been using that. I installed that yesterday. It's GTX 780, which was a huge upgrade over my old 560. So a massive upgrade for me. And, very grateful to my good buddy Colby for doing that.
Nice. Yeah, so you have that Skype group, speaking of Colby. Do you just, when the words blade and or soul enter your chat, does Colby appear? Because that's what happens to me.
I feel like Colby has, how you can set those Skype notifications that alert you whenever a certain keyword is said? I'm pretty sure he has them for Colby and BNS.
Okay. Just making sure, because it happens in my stream all the time. I'll just be like, we're talking about this. He's like, no, that's not right.
Colby Live has popped up.
All right, so I got to know this, Layla. You and I are both in the same, in case people didn't figure that out, we're in the same free company. That did not disband, like the Reddit post from God knows how long
Elysium
ago.
is still kicking.
That Reddit post was so good. Fellow EM member,
Yes.
Prague is in a week.
Yes, it is.
How does it feel going into Midas Savage after what you dealt with in Gordius Savage?
Well, I think that's a multi-tiered question, so it's going to get a multi-tiered answer.
Okay.
Because there's 2 different ways I can feel about that. I can either feel, extremely proud of what my team was able to do in 3.0 and carry that into 3.2 and have very little stress regarding 3.2 and very little pressure in that regard because we've already accomplished our goal. However, the massive competitive spirit that I am, because that's really what I play this game for, I'm looking for the next challenge, and I'm actually very excited for patch 3.2. Partially because I mentioned I'm looking for the next challenge. The new group that I found myself a part of, the new group that we've put together with Fold, Miu, myself, and other members of Elysium. It's a very exciting opportunity for me. It's a group that's very different from my former group in terms of group dynamic and group strengths, and group weaknesses as well. So it's a very interesting endeavor, and I'm really looking forward to taking it on and taking this new group through Savage Progression.
Now, you touched a little bit about the kind of struggles. Would you ever like to see another prog tier like Gordius? Because we know that Midas is getting dimmed down a little bit. Or would you prefer some tiers like Second Coil Savage?
Well, there's pros and cons to both. I think when you examine how Gordius played out, I think there's no way to defend the fact that Gordius took 5 weeks for the world first and second teams to clear. Mm-hmm. I think that there's just no way to argue for that. In my eyes, the progression cycle lasted much too long. It was extremely taxing on all members involved. It was not only our group, but I know I have it on good authority that Lucrezia was going through some internal struggles as well when it came to Gordius, just because of how taxing that raid tier was. 5 weeks out of your summer, and honestly more than 5 weeks, because there was so much time leading up to Gordius that you were actually preparing for progression, and leveling all the new jobs and learning a new expansion. Progression honestly started 9 weeks before Manipulator died, when Heaven's Word came out. That was the start of progression. And when you think about it that way, the tier is just extremely daunting, and it did get overwhelming at a point, and I probably would not want to ever see a tier like Gordius return. Now, obviously, Gordius and Second Coil Savage are designed very differently. Gordius was designed to be not completed with max item level gear, whereas Second Coil Savage was tuned for the max item level gear attainable at the time, because it was during a filler patch, and you're zoning into the filler patch with best in slot from 2.2. I think that was an interesting idea for the time. It was an interesting band-aid to the situation that they were struggling with, which was our hardcore player base is kind of bored right now. Do I think that they need to do the exact same thing again? No. I actually have some interesting ideas of what they could do to kind of change up the mold a little bit and get away from the Gordius dynamic and the Second Coil Savage dynamic, and it might be a little more interesting for players like my group or other hardcore groups. But
let's hear it then.
Wait, but don't you isn't this really the case of we got what we asked for in terms of hardcore world first prog teams and raiders like yourself? Y'all, you live for the challenge.
We do.
So when you're presented with this, and you said it was daunting, the amount of time it took, the amount of time and effort that you put into it was daunting.
Yeah.
Isn't it you got what you asked for? Was it more than you asked for?
It was certainly more than we asked for. I can probably safely say that. For me personally, the difficulty of the content is irrelevant. Okay. To me, it's about the race. And the race is going to happen no matter if the content is trivial or if it's extremely difficult. Right. To me, the only thing that I truly enjoy is the race. When we look at a tier like Final Coil was objectively simpler than Gordius Savage.
Right.
However, the Final Coil race to me was still very interesting and exciting because it functioned as a sort of a sprint to the finish line, in that first week. And that to me can be exciting as well.
Yet people still complain, though. Once the race was over, people still complain.
People always complain. People who don't even beat it in the first week are that was too quick.
Yeah,
I think people are always going to complain. That is something to sort of have a knowledge of. You're not going to make everyone happy with everything that you do, but while even though Gordius was daunting, you still have to finish it. And that was sort of the mentality that us and everyone else carried into it.
Now, you mentioned the 5-week progression,
Yeah.
how it was just so taxing. And this is for both of you, what would you consider to be the most optimal / best time frame in terms of progression when it comes down to a World First Prog?
I don't know about you, Layla. I'd go 2.5 weeks.
So does that mean you have weapons?
That means that I'd like it to be to the point where it's probably pretty close to clearable without weapons, but that little extra push, and then it's more of a mechanical check. Kind of where Second Coil, because that's how long Turn 9, the original, it took about 2.5 weeks for that to fall.
I'd like to see fights that are killable without weapons.
So like A3 Savage.
Like A3 Savage, because what that does is, otherwise it's going to be a very boring, not boring, but it'll be a very linear gear progression race.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, I mean every team in the world is not, if you're completely unable to kill the fight without weapons, there's no, fun ways you can utilize your tomes to benefit your progression better. You're just going to be pulling for weapons, and you're going to all in on weapons week 3, and you're just going to go and kill the boss that you probably had mechanically mapped out for over a week now. You've just been unable to kill it due to an arbitrary DPS check or something. I'd like to see them designed in mind of not requiring weapons, but a weapon can push you over the edge.
So Happy, you said about 2.5 weeks. At any time after that, do you think it's time wasted, or is it just like, let's just hurry the fuck up and get this done?
It's like, this is eating away at my life.
Okay.
Kind of deal. Keep in mind, he finished it in 5 weeks. Layla beat it in 5 weeks. We took 7 weeks. And that's because we had 2 weeks off, kind of, because of bad scheduling, but it's still, that's a lot of time that you're taking away. It's understandable. First week, great. Second week, tone back. Third week, it's like, I kind of want to get back to my life at this point, So having about half of that week at a standard raid schedule seems kind of where the limits kind of lie. You kind of don't hope it goes more than that, even if you're willing to do it, because then you have to start worrying about all 8 people's mental health, even more so than you were already, and their personal lives, which are going to start potentially conflicting with progression.
Yeah, this is sort of a side comment, but this is something that we do preach to all of Elysium members, at least. Make sure your life is in a very stable spot before getting into progression, like we're talking about. Real life responsibilities should be prioritized first. I've said this many times before, but if now is not a stable point in your life or a good point in your life, there's no harm in getting things organized and waiting till the next progression tier. There's going to be more progression. This isn't the last progression tier, just like the next one's not going to be the last progression tier. There's always going to be more opportunities.
Yeah, and we touched on this a few weeks ago about the kind of mentality you have to be in when you go into World First Prog, and just hearing it again, I just couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it. I'm mid-core.
You didn't believe me when I said that.
I'm mid-core. I can't. My life is in order. It's fine. I'm good. But when you kind of verse it like that, it's intimidating. It's really fucking intimidating.
Well, I don't mean to intimidate you, but it is important to highlight, because people can get caught in the snare. I've watched it happen firsthand. I've watched other groups go through this problem of they didn't set themselves up in a stable position before taking a week and a half off of their life.
Right.
And their life just unraveled in those 2 weeks. And if you're not careful, you can have that happen.
You hear that, folks? Alexander doesn't just break statics; it breaks souls. It breaks your soul. It breaks your life.
Don't worry, just buy a few swimsuits.
It breaks your
life.
life.
Oh man, I'm not going to throw him under the bus. I'm not throwing Coldy under the. Oops, I just did.
He threw himself under the bus. He threw himself under the bus anyway. Look, he says it right there. Just buy the swimsuits. Prog is easy. Never need to wash clothes.
Oh, he said that.
He said that in chat. Right. He threw himself under the bus.
I threw himself under the bus, then. I didn't even have to do the work for him.
There you go. So you were just mentioning that you had some ideas for the way that you would do Prog versus the way they do it now.
Yeah, so we're in an interesting spot right now in terms of designing these raid tiers. They're struggling to find a balance between balancing the normal modes and the savage modes, and balancing savage mode so that it's able to be cleared by all skill level, not all skill levels, but a wide range of skill levels and time investment. And they haven't found their stride with that yet. And I've always thought it was interesting because one of the things that they cite sometimes is of being a problem in regards to that is a lack of resources or a lack of time allowed. That's one of the reasons we have these long patch cycles and this content drought. It's because they need time to develop this content. And when I think about what I would enjoy in terms of content and versus the content that's being provided to me right now, I think that there's actually some easier alternatives that they could be doing. And what I'm about to talk about may sound kind of familiar for anyone who's played World of Warcraft during the Old War era, because it's very similar to that. I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks on my stream, but I don't necessarily agree that they have to go to a multi-difficulty raid system of a normal and a savage mode. The second coil of Bahamut philosophy, that raid design philosophy can function and can work in a Heavensward game. But they have to be, and one of the reasons it can work is you can focus on designing one difficulty tier. Mm-hmm. And then what's always been the problem historically? Hardcore players have been bored during the filler patches. One thing that I would find interesting, and it's a great way for them to utilize these filler patches, is take their raid tier that they designed in the patch before, and add hard mode achievements to it during a filler patch. Now, what does this mean for them in terms of design and development? Well, they don't have to develop any new content. They're taking content that they've already made. They're adding special win conditions to that content at that point. This could be something as trivial as killing A1 Savage before a jump, doing a 0 jump A1 Savage. That could be a hard mode achievement. Or it could be something as difficult as something that Miuni suggested a week ago or so.
Of course.
Of every player in your party must touch both colors of Judgment Nissi. And that's for anyone who's tried Judgment Nissi or has familiarity with Judgment Nissi and Alexander IV Savage, that's a tall task. But I like the idea of adding hard mode achievements to the game because it's very resource. It doesn't cost many resources for them, and it's something that can add a great deal of enjoyment to the game for players who are wishing to push themselves and go beyond the content that they're given.
Where's the red button in the back of the room?
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. But now you're saying one difficulty tier, just one.
In that kind of design, yeah, you'd probably just focus on one difficulty tier. It would allow them to focus more on that one difficulty, and not have to bounce back and forth between normal and savage and balance between the two of them.
Now I'm going to play devil's advocate here for the casual side, because remember back in Second Coil, the issue that a lot of people were having, and this is more towards the casual side, is I'm missing out on this interesting story.
Really?
And it's a part, and the story's a part of it. I'm missing out on this interesting story. One, because I can't find a static, and I can't find a group good enough to kind of clear this content. So the normal in Savage kind of curtailed that. What does that idea do for the casual crowd then?
Well, it doesn't do much, I can tell you that. But what I can say is I can't speak to the casual crowd of that's not pursuing a static, not pursuing party finder groups to try and struggle through the progression of content. Mm-hmm. I do remember, at least back in Gilgamesh, though, the number of pugs that were clearing Second Coil was at an all-time high. It was very high during patch 2.2. There were very few players on Gilgamesh who didn't clear second coil. May not very few, but there were very few players of the raiding community. And I guess that's the discrepancy. It's the raiding community versus the non-raiding community. And what the normal mode now allows is for the non-raiding community to have access to that story. And I think that is something that I should highlight and maybe give more of a nod to, that you would be alienating the non-raiders from the story aspect of raiding. The only thing I can say to that is I encourage them to raid. I encourage them to get involved and to try their hat at raiding.
And that's better than most of the kind of hardcore responses to that. Just watch it on YouTube. But they want to experience it.
I'm not going to tell somebody to watch it on YouTube.
I've actually heard that, and it's like they want to experience it.
Yeah, but to me, it's about the journey and going through progression. Yeah, that's a great use of your monthly fee. I think that's fun. I think learning those fights and pushing yourself and trying to tackle that content. I think people should get enjoyment out of that if they try it. So I would encourage them to try it.
Okay.
If there's anything I've learned, Layla, it's that, because I thought it was like, no one likes normal mode. And I said that, and so many people were like, I do. And I was like, that's a lot of people that like normal mode. And they'll probably, I think the thing is, they're probably going to, no matter what, always develop normal mode from this point on.
Yeah.
I think at this point, let's just apply that to Savage. If Savage is going back to being between coil difficulties, let's just add that idea on top of what Savage is now. Make it so you can't use the Gobwalker in A2 Savage or something. I don't know. You have to use Fluid Aura to get rid of the bombs.
Woo!
Just use Fluid Aura and Machinists. There you go.
We use quite a bit of Fluid Aura.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to make time. Got to make time for all that, all the DPS we needed back then. All right, so there's one thing in particular I want to ask you about, because last tier you rated on Warrior.
Yes.
Here we go. And this tier, we're seeing quite a big amount of changes to tank stats. And by big changes, I mean Vitality. So, I'm going to ask you right away, how much stronger than Strength is Vitality going to be in your mind?
Nobody knows. That's
in your mind, what do you think they will do?
Well, in my mind, and based off of the quotes that I've read, so this is not totally my mind, I guess, but the rumor is that Vitality, the rumor is that wearing Fending is going to net you more attack power than wearing Slaying. I don't have an official source on that, but that's the rumor that's been given to me many times and has been quoted from their live letter translation and whatnot. How the ratio between how much strength, how strength and vitality contribute to your attack power individually, nobody's going to know until we actually log it and hit a target dummy. But I think most players are expecting to be wearing Fending.
Now, the interesting thing for me is their attack power values are just innately going to have to be lower because strength. They said strength is being reduced and changed. They never said removed.
Yes.
So that implies it still has some weight.
You can think of strength as a neo debt. It's like an old school debt. That's all it is. It's debt plus.
So that means that if you're wearing, that means vitality probably won't scale on a flat 1.0. I mean, thinking about that, just the way that having two main stats is, and the fact that their left side gear has both stats as it is.
It would have to not, yeah.
Yeah. So that's an automatic attack power nerf to all the tanks, isn't it? And in theory.
Yes. In theory, yes.
With that in mind, Vit, parry versus strength crit accessories. Have you given any thought to this? Because we don't know if anything's happening to parry. They've made no mention of it, so I'm assuming nothing's happening. And that stat has still remained in the same state for God knows how long.
I have given thought to it. The short answer is vitality does more than just damage. Vitality is also going to raise your HP pool. So that's going to contribute a lot to the conversation. That's going to be measured a lot also when you're thinking about what you're going to be wearing. I anticipate that we're just going to be seeing a ton of fending, but I'm open to weaving in some strength crit if there's not a good fending alternative. Should the attack power call for it, but because of the fact that vitality is a multi-benefit stat, you're probably going to be seeing a lot of vitality.
It's so multi-benefit that tanks will probably have to spend more on food than anyone else because they'll want the highest vitality food that they can get.
I am hoping that there's an adjustment to that. I think the fact that tank's potential main stat is going to be on food, I'm hoping it's not an oversight by them and that they're going to address that.
I still think it's going to be an oversight.
Do you think that maybe made to offset the loss of attack power otherwise?
No, I don't think that there's any correlation there. I think if it goes through like that, I think it would be an oversight.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it because I'm not going to be paying 120K of food, whatever comes out in the new recipes.
The 37-bit food are very expensive, so.
Oh yeah.
Oh, shut up! Y'all act like y'all ain't got all the damn.
Listen, Sly. Everyone gives
here we go.
Here, everyone. Listen, I'm sorry that we actually buy the food off the market board or craft it, and we don't just have our friggin' United Negro Dragoon Fund hand us all our food.
I actually buy my food too.
Yeah, with their money.
No, with my money.
It's your money now because they gave it to you. You opened yourself up to this with the United Negro Dragoon Fund. Okay? You opened yourself
my
up.
retainers have been doing well. I've been buying Steam staff for whatever.
I'm sure you have been. Speaking of parry, as a stat, do you think they're ever going to do anything with this?
They should. I mean, I don't know whether they're going to, but they should.
Okay, so there's
a very uninteresting stat right now.
There's a few options that are flying around. People are saying make it automatically counterattack if you parry. That's one that I've seen. Some have just literally said give it the skill speed, spell speed treatment that they did to summoners with dots. And I heard one more. I think it was something along just make it better. Just remove it from dexterity and give parry the same value that the dexterity was given, pretty much.
So my favorite solution to the parry problem is to have parry rating affect your parry mitigation. That's always been my favorite. Give tanks a baseline mitigation percentage, maybe of 10%. Have it be much lower than it is now. Maybe a 10%. And the more parry rating you wear, the more your parry is going to mitigate. And why do I like that solution versus some of the others you mentioned? Well, I think about and mostly it's because I'm a warrior, and I think about what parry's problem is for a warrior is the fact that raw intuition exists. It makes parry rating completely useless for me. I don't need it. I don't need parry rating. I have an on-demand 20-second duration auto parry whenever every 90 seconds. Incorporating a parry rating that increases that benefits the mitigation of your parry now synergizes with warrior again, because right now parry rating is a completely dead stat for warriors, and a system like that would bring it back in light for warriors. And it also gives some cool gear dynamic of, your warrior isn't just stacking crit every turn. Maybe you want to be stacking parry rating for this very physical, very physically heavy fight of A2 Savage. Maybe parry rating would see more play there than crit.
That's always been a big thing.
Cool gear dynamic.
Bosses just attack so slow that it even removes the use for parry a lot in content. But I remember in Final Coil, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I remember seeing a lot of the World Prog tanks going just dexterity out the wazoo because of how well it's scaled. I remember claims of 40, 44% parry rating with those full dex melds. I mean, we going to see that ever again?
Are we ever going to see that again?
The dexterity builds. Why was that so useful? Mostly just because of flatten? Or was it the ads? Because it was mostly the ads in turn 12 and in turn 13, if I remember correctly.
The very first time that the dexterity heavy paladins saw play in Final Coil was turn 11. I can actually cite the Death and Taxes turn 11 clear. Their paladin used a full dex meld set for basically the ability to solo tank the fight. Week 1. Week 1 solo tank of turn 11 opened up a lot of extra damage opportunities for your off tank, and it was really only possible through heavy block rate from the dex melds, and he was wearing a buckler at the time. Bucklers just completely outshine medium shields and tower shields for block rate.
Yeah.
So, are we going to see it again? Well, with the new melding system, I don't know. It's going to depend on how strong strength is, because we're only going to be able to meld one stat. onto our right side, and one main stat. Sorry.
Well, one main stat on everything, because the raid gear the left side's going to have one. I mean, even raid gear itself is going to have the melding abilities.
So the left side, you could see some potential dex play, but we'll see. We'll see. I could see it making a comeback, but not for every tank.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Before Happy gets the chance to ask this, because I know he's going to smile way too much if he does. Pallies. Yeah.
What about it?
Are we going to see them return to dominance in 3.2? I mean, we don't know anything yet, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I can give you my thoughts on Paladin. I think Paladin is obviously the topic of many heated discussions lately. Some justifiably and some not. Paladin itself as a class is in a fine spot. The issue with Gordius, and I'll highlight some of the problems with Paladin, but overall Paladin is okay. Paladin is a viable tank, and that's the important distinction to make. It is not a dead tank. It is a very viable tank, and you can the math supports the fact that over a course of 3 minutes on a very physical heavy fight, a Paladin will outshine Warrior and Dark Knight in mitigation over a course of 3 minutes. Like 3 minutes and 20 seconds is when the Paladin really pulls ahead. So you have that strength. You have a strength like Divine Veil. Divine Veil is an extremely powerful raid cooldown. And you have the strength in Cover. Cover is another extremely powerful raid cooldown. So what's Paladin's problem? Paladin's problem actually doesn't have much to do with the class itself, outside of maybe the fact that it does less damage than Dark Knight and Warrior is concerning, yes. However, the major number one issue with Paladin and the number one contributor to why it didn't see much play in 3.0 is the raid tier. This is a raid tier that the tank busters did not favor Paladin. They favored a 60-second cooldown Dark Mind. They favored an on-demand Inner Beast. This raid tier was not designed with Paladins in mind. This raid tier was clearly designed with their new car, their baby Dark Knight that they had just released. It's very obvious in the Savage fights. Will we see it return? I have no doubt in my mind they're going to design fights with Paladin in mind. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to be seeing all three tanks clearing the content in 3.2. Which ones remain optimal? Which ones are optimal remains to be seen, however.
So you don't think that one tank is going to outshine any other in 3.2?
I think one tank will outshine the others, and that tank will be Warrior. Warrior is completely stable right now, and it's objectively the best tank in the game.
It's objectively the best job in the game.
It's up there for certain. But to say that Paladin won't be viable, I won't get behind. But it really just depends on the fight. Fights are going to call for different party compositions, and if you're looking to be optimal at every fight, then you need to be flexible in what tank you play. A Paladin should be proficient enough to play Dark Knight when a Dark Knight is more viable, and a Dark Knight should be proficient enough to play Paladin when a Paladin is more optimal.
And one of them should at least be able to play Warrior. And one of them needs to play Warrior.
The other guy should have an axe.
Yes. Pretty much, always. And before you ask him something else, Sly, everyone in the chat's telling us reminding us they removed strength and dexterity values from blocking and parrying.
Oh, well, there you go. I totally forgot, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot too.
Well, they mentioned that oaths are going to be changed. Do you think they're going to basically make them work like Defiance and Deliverance?
That's what you'd expect. However, I'm wondering if there's something else they could do right now. I haven't given much thought to that, so I'm thinking right now. The obvious that you would expect is that they're going to take them off global cooldown. Mm-hmm. And if they do that,
have them stop interrupting combo.
Do they need to do that?
It's pretty annoying.
It's annoying, but I'm not convinced they need to do that. There's a lot of cool. See, one thing that people may or not be aware of. I know all the top paladins are aware of this because this is a big part of high level paladin play. But when you enter an oath, it drops your combo. When you cancel an oath, it does not drop your combo, and that's very important to know because what that does is that it opens up some cool rotations that paladins can do in shield oath dropping. Now, you can drop your Shield Oath mid-combo. Don't go Sword Oath yet, but you can drop your Shield Oath mid-combo and gain extra potency without interrupting your combo before you go into Sword Oath. And that's something the Paladins should be aware of, when it comes to their oaths. Most are, but not all.
There you go. Pro tips. What about... I gotta ask about clemency.
Sure.
Please tell me you hate it as much as I do that's interruptible.
Well, I do, but I more so hate the fact that we're required to cast it. Because, clemency is a major problem right now, and I do think clemency is one thing that we should highlight as an awkward part of Paladin. Clemency's major problem is the fact that, the large cast time of it, it's interrupting your debuff uptime and your dot uptime in your standard, Goring Blade and Halone rotation. And it's overall just not contributing to your DPS on a class that's already very weak in terms of damage compared to the other two tanks. I use the term weak loosely. But one thing that I've brought up a couple times now that I would like to see them do with clemency, and it would also give some flavor to the class and make tanking a little more interactive and interesting, and honestly raise the skill cap a little bit for the class, is let's see some form of a, maybe it doesn't have to be a proc system, but something you do. For example, maybe every shield swipe you do, for every shield swipe, you reduce the cast time of your next clemency by 33%. And that effect can stack up to 3 times. So every 3 shield swipes, you now have an instant cast clemency. Something like, and maybe that instant cast clemency lasts for 60 seconds, and you can pool it and use it as a warrior might use their equilibrium against a mechanic. Or clemency already has a really cool mechanic built into itself of anytime you heal someone else, it heals you for half of the heal. Maybe you can turn into a bit of a raid healer in a certain part of a fight, while also benefiting your tanking. It becomes a core part of your tanking rotation at that point. And I'd like to see them do something like, it doesn't have to be exactly that, but I'd like to see them do something interesting like that with clemency.
Somebody in the chat mentioned the idea of making it like every 5 blocks, for example.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be shield swipes. It could be blocks. Yeah. It could be crits. It could be just something that you do over the course, that you build towards. That's the key. Because, think about a warrior's tanking and mitigation rotation. You're building towards that inner beast. You're managing those 5 rat stacks as you're building up to those 5 rat stacks. Well, you're managing this clemency that you're building up to. I mean, I think that could be a really cool part of the class.
I just hope that Paladin gets some decent love. And Machinists and Summoners and Monks, I guess those are some other jobs that were kind of,
I wouldn't say Monks.
Well, Monks has suffered because Dark Knights were so in flavor. And how much the DPS check was, it was very clearly more optimal unless you were bringing a Machinist at 3 melee.
Monks I think got buffed though sometime in patch 3.0 if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they did.
Their their damage is on par. It's just with people don't really value Mantra, and Dragon Kick kind of got overshadowed by Dark Knight.
People don't value Mantra, really?
People really should value. I mean, the thing is, once you have enough gear, Mantra does lose some of its value. But in prog, listen, I'm never going to say extra healing's a bad thing.
Right.
It's just that the damage, the combined damage composition of Dragoon, Ninja, Black Mage, Bard has kind of just dominated the mentality of everyone. And even though those jobs are perfectly capable of doing Savage, people just shit on them all the time.
And they still have Mantra too. Well, Dragoons do.
I can tell you that we really, really, really wanted a monk on our A4. every week we tried to argue for bringing a paladin and a monk. I used to joke about this. Every Tuesday, we would have a new argument. Do we have enough gear yet to bring a monk and a paladin? Because a monk and a paladin are going to make the fight so much easier when you're bringing in Mantra and Divine Veil. It's just they're very desirable. It's just the DPS checks of Gordius. You couldn't make the argument for it.
Except on the one time you got the kill, because I think you could have done it with a monk and paladin. You guys got lucky. You guys got that extra cast from Carnage. Yeah,
we got the Carnage. I think our kill ended at like 1307. So we definitely got some extra time. My first Bahamut kill was very similar. We got an extra Mega Flare before the enrage. So
good old Mega Flare. Good old Bahamut. Yeah, those were Those are interesting times. All right, so very important thing we need to bring up. You mentioned it a little bit before. Lucrezia had some internal struggles back in the day. That group is out of the race. I mean, that's been a big topic ever since EM, Team Updog, and Lucrezia's original group are both out of the race. So a lot of people are looking like it's open. Like, and this thing's up in the air.
Yeah. It should.
Who's taking the gold?
Should light fire under people's asses. Who's taking the gold? I don't know. You really want to put me on the spot like that.
Give me a name.
Who's taking the gold? Who's taking the gold?
Give me a name.
Well, I can say that I very much look forward to the challenge of bringing home the gold, and we'll just have to wait and see.
That is such a politician answer.
Yeah, Layla knows that. Layla knows what he's doing. That's why I put that question in there, because I was like, let's see how he does this one. It's not going to be nerd.
See how I dance around that one.
Yeah.
It's not going to be nerd scream, is what you're saying. They're not going to get world first again.
I can tell you that my biggest goal right now is to get another nerd scream for you guys.
All right, Nerd Scream 2.0. You guys heard it right here.
I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna work hard.
He's gonna be like Monday night while the servers are down. He's gonna look in the mirror. Yeah. Go to vocal classes for that one. All right, so we still got the 3.2 trailer to talk about. Before we go on to that, are there any other closing thoughts or comments on the upcoming World Race that you'd like to share with everyone?
I'm just excited. I hope that everyone else is excited. We have a new raid tier. It's been a long time, 6.5 months since we've set foot in Gordius. I encourage everyone to get out there and try it. Square puts a lot of time into this content, and we should pay them back by everyone getting in there and at least trying it.
There you go. Use the words. Get in there.
Words.
Give it a shot. All right. On that note, let's move on to talking about the patch 3.2 trailer. Took them long enough to get it to us.
I know.
At the very least, we've been waiting on this thing for a long, long time.
Should have got it in a live letter.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of on schedule for when they usually give it to us. Like, it's almost always like a Friday.
They could have gave it to us.
Like, just how we know this Friday will probably be prelim notes. Almost guaranteed this Friday is prelim notes.
Friday or Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. So, before we can really talk about it, we should probably refresh our memory of everything that's inside of it. So we are actually going to watch the trailer. So those of you on iTunes, you can hear it at the very least. So we're going to switch over to this cam. We're going to shut our mouths. Grab your popcorn. And see you guys in 8.5 minutes after we're done watching this trailer.
It's a long trailer.
Yeah. I remember the 2.1 trailer was 11 minutes. The 2.1 trailer was 11 minutes.
2.1? That was Extreme Primals?
Yeah, that was Extreme, Titan, Ifrit, Garuda, Ultima, all those. That was a long trailer.
Wow.
All right, well, let's watch it.
Disabling Sephiroth's restraints now. Good luck.
Since the days of Eld, when the bonds betwixt man and dragon were sundered by our hand, our peoples have known only war.
To win a war, you must be willing to do whatever it takes. To fight, to kill, and if necessary, to die.
Blessed children, go forth and seek.
And we're back.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a long 8 minutes, just as Layla said.
Hype.
It was an enjoyable 8 minutes,
Hype.
but it
Hype.
was a very, very long... I forgot we were even doing a show, not gonna lie. I thought we were just watching it again. So, wow. Before we hop into the individual details, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
Okay, that was pretty unanimous. That was pretty quick. Give it a thumbs up as well. So we're basically going to talk about the trailer in chronological order. So first thing we get to talk about is Sephiroth.
Hasn't skipped Arm Day.
I hate that name so much. Really, really hate it. It's even worse that we have to hear her say his name because, like, I just hearing it out loud. I don't want to hear Sephiroth. Can they just call him the Fiend, please? Oh.
Doom.
Oh yeah, Fiend of Doom, or they call him Doom. Yeah, Doom is his other name.
Yeah, his name was Doom.
He looks pissed.
Yeah.
He hasn't skipped Arm Day, man.
I like the way he looks. He's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Wakes up and like, what are y'all doing here?
I like the design of the fight. I like that they, we have this big, huge primal we're up against finally, instead of these little tiny primals we've.
Doesn't that kind of look Jekt like the final Jekt fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was my
falls
first
off, he
reaction.
comes back. Yeah, he looks exactly like, and he also has his own music. As much as I love the Atma weapon music from Final Fantasy VI, that's still it's still pretty hype to hear the music change. I don't know about you. When I first saw it, I thought, oh wow, they actually showed them beating him for once, and then I was like, wait a minute,
Nope. That's not it.
they're still
That's
moving
not it.
around. This isn't the end of the fight. Oh.
Can we get Jekt metal music for that? I want Jekt
It
metal.
sounds
You
like
like
it's
that?
pretty metal.
Did you like that music? I didn't like that.
I love the Jekt metal music.
I love what's it called? Overworld, I think it's called, or something, or Otherworld. Is the name
That's
of the song?
that's the jet fight music, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the jet
Yeah.
fight music. Yeah.
Ah, you guys are weird.
What? You don't like it?
No, I hated that.
I loved it.
Layla, please. Layla, please. We like
just don't like
having you
Final
on
Fantasy
the show
X.
up till this point.
I just feel like Final Fantasy X.
Okay. Fair enough.
But
I can.
Well, let's mention one thing: the voice that you heard.
That's
before.
Cryle. At this point,
I agree.
Yeah.
Some people say it's Alice A. I'm like, no, it has to be Cryle.
But it's weird because so many people came to me and they were like, "Oh, it's Alice A." I went and I double checked the voice actresses, and then people did the same shit. Oh, it's Cryle. We went and listened to the other voice. It's like that. We can hear the voice. We know who it is.
Yes.
I mean, first reaction was Cryle, but I mean there's a little Alice A in there. I don't know.
It's hard to tell only because she's like over a speaker,
Yeah,
kind of, which I thought was interesting.
it could just be through a loop.
Is that a like
goblin?
a giant link pearl or something, or I don't know.
what Sephiroth's constraints? Just a giant link pearl. That's how he talks to the other.
Yeah.
That's how he talks to the other triads.
Yeah.
Mechanics of the fight seemed pretty standard up till that second half, which we've never had a fight like that yet, where it looked like they showed him auto attacking, cleaving, his like phase change mechanic, which seemed to be all the eggies that summoners will never get. Just to add that onto the list of eggies that summoners will never get. Don't worry, we've lost count at this point. And then I'm gonna assume that other attack where he jumped up into the laser. Every time I see a laser like that, I assume it's split damage. Akmorn has me scarred forever, along with Thermionic Beam. So
Could be.
I'm gonna assume they all stood together, but they also never played the fucking fight correctly in any of the trailers.
Well, they can never die. They always have invulnerability every time they record this.
Yeah, you can see that little like shield looking animation every time.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we're invincible. By the way, my favorite is still the Ifrit Extreme where he gets hit by all 4 charges. I mean, that second half of the fight, though, holy moly. Like, the only thing that's upsetting me about that second half is that we know it's easier than Thornton.
Yeah, that's what upsets me, too. And
I'm not saying it needed to be harder than Thornton, but...
It'll be a cinematic experience, but...
I would kill for on par, but yeah, it's sad that it's getting dimmed down.
Yeah, I think that the Extreme Primals is really another place they can look to kind of satisfy Raiders. I don't know if you've ever thought about
even then
Savage
people
Primals,
won't be
Layla.
happy. Even then, a lot of people won't be happy.
I don't know if you ever thought about Savage Primals, Layla. I know Xeno has.
Xeno definitely has.
Oh yeah, what was it? Titan.
A ridiculous name.
Blood of the dragon.
Mountain. Blood of the dragon.
Greased lightning.
Extreme
Something.
brutal.
Yeah.
I've designed like 20 fights. I have like a document somewhere. I'm just gonna whip that out one day and just be like, "This is what we're doing." Do you guys have any expectations of the other 2 members of the triad? Because he's very visually cool to look at, but he's the first of 3. We know who the other 2 are. It's Sophia and I can't remember the third one's name. The demon.
Well, they already ruined my theory because I had actually fully expected that we were just going to have a 3 primal council fight, and we were just going to fight all 3 of them, and it was going to be really uninteresting. So the fact that they're splitting them up already debunked my theory.
What would we have had if all 3 of them were coming at once? Like, what were your other thoughts? Because obviously they do a primal patch. That's nothing new.
What in what way are you asking?
Like what? Because if all 3 of them had come at once, then something else would have needed to have come. Like if that was in 3.3, then in 3.4, 3.5, we would have needed something to fill after that.
I have no idea.
Final
Fantasy universe.
The story would have been rushed if that would have happened.
Yeah, what if we get that in 3.5? Because these guys are only going to last till 3.4. Or are we going to get Kefka?
We're not getting Kefka.
We're not getting Kefka. It's just every time I see the tower, it has Kefka's wing.
The wings, I know. So I'm thinking maybe 3.5. Statue of the Gods, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe.
I'm thinking a Statue of the Gods fight in 3.5. Not Kefka, but a Statue of the Gods.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the goddess. In all honesty,
yeah,
I want to see. I want to see how they pull off the head that's below. I want to see how they pull that off.
Unalesca. That's all I think of when I see that. I know you don't like Final Fantasy X, Layla, but I don't care.
The tentacles.
Yeah,
at least I got the reference.
Yeah, that's true. How much Final Fantasies have you played, Layla? All of them?
I've played all of them, yeah.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Because some people, I've never played another Final Fantasy. Like 14's their first one.
I've never played Final Fantasy 2.
Save yourself.
Japanese 2.
Okay. No, yeah, save yourself.
Really? Okay.
It's not. I don't like it. It's like that.
I think I played it for 10 minutes. I thought it was really weird and stopped.
Yeah, because the only way to level up your skills is to use them. So, like, what you do is you just equip 2 shields and beat the shit out of yourself to raise your health and agility.
Oh. Interesting.
And then you're fucking invincible for the entire game because you will always go first and nothing can hit you.
Well, it doesn't sound like I missed much then.
No. Yeah. It's just came out on like iOS and Android, I think, if you want to try that. But no, don't do it. Don't do it. All right, next up we had The Feast. And believe it or not, this was where my interest was piqued.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah, it does.
For the longest time, I think it's fair to say Final Fantasy XIV's PvP is
lacking.
Life support.
That's being generous.
It's supported itself. We figured out a way as a community to support, to kind of support ourselves through PvP and make it something. It just hasn't gotten that surge yet. I think The Feast is that surge.
Yeah, it really needed a boost because, man, Seal Rock is fun, but Seal Rock is all there is. Unless you're win trading in the Wolves Den or participating in, the Fight Nights, which are good on occasion, but if you're lower rank, it's a little bit... If you're, in the middle ranks, it's kind of hard to get involved in those nights because of the way that the matchmaking works right now. The Feast looks to be the answer to all those problems, though. Any initial impressions of what we saw there? Because this is, they're awful at doing PvP in trailers. It always looks so scripted.
I haven't PvP'd a whole lot in Final Fantasy, but I did a lot in 2.5 when they added the new 72-man and 24-mans. But it looks like something fun for me to do when I'm not reading. To me, PvP in this game has always been it entirely hinges upon am I enjoying the people I'm doing it with.
Right.
So, I'm looking forward to having something to do that isn't raiding.
Now, do we think that because we know we've seen it, like PvP will get that surge right at the patch, and then it slowly but surely dies down? Do you think?
Well, the feast is 2 weeks late, also, so like World Prog can happen for 2 weeks, and then if it's beaten before 2 weeks, before literally the weak weapons come out, the feast will be implemented.
Right.
Yeah.
So
but
the timing seems pretty good.
Do you think it'll still die down though?
It always dies down.
Right.
It's never going to remain like, at the top of
It's not a
popularity.
PvP game.
Yeah, it's not a PvP game.
It's a PvE game at core.
But they seem to want to support PvP. Like, they understand it's a core aspect of MMOs, and it's nice to see it getting what seems to be the answer to most complaints about PvP. Like, people always go for the healers, or, I need to be in a grand company to play with my friend, and then it resets my rank, and all this other stuff, because it's doing a bunch of things that are a lot different than the PvP modes we have now. It's got supply boxes to pick up buffs. It's not just the deathmatch, which even though Seal Rock is technically not, a lot of people treat it like it is. And then you have the culling time, which makes the arena look really cool, but I don't really know how I feel about it yet.
And thank God for the how you just run over things to pick up, because if they implemented the usual stand down for a few seconds and try to examine / pick up action,
without being interrupted.
Yeah. It would be so slow, and it wouldn't be fun. So thank God for the devs that they did that. But yeah, I think all the this sort of new take on PvP, it's interesting, and I think it'll hold the PvPers, and it'll bring some new PvPers in. I mean, I'm not really a new PvPer. Again, I'm one of those PvPers who was there at the start. I'm just here for my free Essos and chicken, and I want to get out. That was me. That was me. And then the queue times were horrible after that. Trying to get in front lines, try to get in front lines now. You're not getting.
If you go right now on Ether Data Center, it will not take you that long at this hour.
Bullshit.
It'll take you probably 7 to 10 minutes at most.
Bullshit.
No, dead serious. I'm in a PvP link shell who queues all day. I'm telling you, man, the PvP community's there and it's strong. It's just not in the forefront.
What I think is important, and what they haven't had in Final Fantasy XIV, is they haven't had the proper framework for PvP. So while it never has to be the core of the game, it never has to be the forefront of the game, they should at least respect their that portion of their audience enough to give them the framework to enjoy themselves in. And when they're adding something like the Feast, what they're doing is they're giving them the framework and saying, here, we're giving you guys what you want. Go have at it. Have your fun with it. Make what you will of it. We're now going to go back and focus on the rest of the game. And that's essentially what they're going to be doing with the Feast.
Well, I mean, the arena, first of all, is a big thing. I think one of the biggest things 14 has lacked for the longest time is arenas.
Unique
more
arenas?
than one fucking arena.
Yeah.
And we still only have one arena in this case, but it's pretty big. It looks like it's a good size for 8 people, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you think they might have a scaled down one for 4? Because when I think of this, I think of Halo, for example. Try 8 people on a big team battle map. It's not fun. It takes forever. I think the only solution for this, and hopefully we see this, is a scaled down map for 4 people.
I don't think we will. I think that with 4 people, the whole point of the supply boxes is to make sure you're moving around that entire arena. And because if you see one spawns on the lower level on the left, doesn't matter how big the arena is, that becomes the objective to fight at and fight over.
Yep.
So I think that it's more scaled to 4, and they could just stick 8 on top of it, and it'll work just fine. Because then in 8-man, you have to worry about you have the dynamic of a group of people breaking off while the rest are fighting. and it makes for an interesting dynamic there. I think I like the idea of the supply boxes in general. I think it's good to have an objective. I always like objective-based gameplay, which is why the slaughter was never really my thing, even though it had objectives, sort of. But Yoshi P actually had an interview. They did a Wolves Den tournament on an esports channel overseas. Yeah, Esports Max.
I didn't see this. That's funny.
Yeah,
I missed out on it.
It was an original Wolves Den. It wasn't the Feast like a preview. It was the OG Wolves Den tournament. And basically, Yoshi P kind of talked about breathing life into PvP. He gave some like general tips, like if you're new to PvP, try to do this, like focus on this. Try to make sure you can play well before you start worrying about the people around you. And he brought up a lot of things that I didn't think we'd see. A spectator mode, which they used at the tournament, where you have set positions for the camera and you can follow individual players. He finally mentioned, they said we will be adding 1v1 practice duels.
Good.
Oh.
And the ability to set up scrims in practice matches.
Could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he even, he kind of danced around the idea of open world PvP.
That's forcing the issue. I don't like the idea. I think right now, as it stands, there's not enough interest. Maybe the Feast will drum up interest.
He said they want to see how much interest there is in the Feast, but he kind of did that thing where it's like, let's watch what people do and then make the next plan. Like he did that with Second Coil Savage. Originally, he was talking about, oh yeah, we're working on Final Coil Savage, and then he's like, never mind, we're just going to do Alexander Savage.
Yeah, I think when there's enough interest in it, sure, why not? But as it stands, that's just extra manpower, and possibly for open world PvP, you're probably going to need another server. So
that's what he mentioned.
That's more manpower, more money for another server, and you're going to need that interest. Without it, you're just going to waste money and resources on something people aren't going to do. What do you think, Layla?
Yeah, what about you?
I'm thinking about different ways they could add open world PvP in this game. And the only thing I can think of is some form of resource-dependent zone, a zone where you fight over some form of resource in the middle or something, and
like making the whole zone kind of active on a large scale. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't say a fate.
Are you going to say Wintergrass, Layla?
Okay, so I didn't want to reference Wintergrass. That was exactly what I was thinking. However, you know what I just thought? I found the way to fix Diadem.
Oh, God.
Open world PvP! Diadem's fixed!
There you go. Guilds can land, take over an island. They got to defend the island. There.
Wait, defend the island while people are gathering?
No, your people can gather. And you can limit it to only...
And the gatherers can fight other gatherers. You can change other pickaxes.
Yeah. I thought about that. I mean, airship PvP, guild versus guild airship PvP was always an idea that floated around when the airships were first announced. So, there you go. Diadem's fixed, ladies and gentlemen.
I like it.
There you go.
Oh, man.
Dino Island is mine. Open world PvP gatherers.
The fish.
Only. Well, you shouldn't have did fish in there, Sly. Those aren't your fish. Do we think that, like, because Yoshi P's kind of like an old school MMOer. Like he's referenced that he played a lot of like the OG MMOs, and that he's played some of the modern ones as well. It's hard to imagine he was ever even hesitant about this stuff. Like, he's always kind of the person that thinks of everything, but doesn't always execute on everything, you know? So it's kind of interesting. Well, he's always thinking, like, oh, this is the result of this. Like, this is a potential result, this is a potential result. And he comes to a conclusion about what they will do based on all the potential results. And it's not always the result we want to hear.
Basically. Or a lot of ideas just get, like, put on the cutting block.
Yeah, where are my open world primals? You're going to do open world PvP. I still don't have my open world primals that I can summon once that we were promised God knows how long ago.
Put an open world primal in the middle of Diadem.
There you go. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't do that with Diadem. They have the weather effect there that summons the Proto Ultima.
Y'all just trying to fucking Diadem more fucking dangerous for me. God damn it!
We're trying to make it fun, Sly.
Exactly.
It's chill. Leave my shit alone. I want to fucking fish. I want to make money. I don't want to worry about
Sly,
a goddamn
Sly,
primal.
here's the thing: if you want to fish, go buy a fucking boat. All right. Yeah.
Open world fishing.
Go buy a fucking boat. All
Open
right.
world
You got a
fishing.
harbor nearby, I'm sure. That's what I'm talking about. Will you guys be feasting in 3.21?
Yes.
When
Yes.
Prog's over.
Well, I think I don't know about you. I'm making predictions, Layla. I think it's gonna be over before Feast comes out.
I'm not counting out.
You're not that confident.
I'm not counting it out, but I'm making predictions.
You can make a prediction,
I'm feeling it.
but I have been betrayed before by my predictions. So
by about 5 weeks.
yeah. I mean, I went from Final Coil, which was the fastest raid clear tiered, to Alexander Gordius, which was the longest. It was quite a stark difference.
A little bit. I don't know. I think the shortest tier ever was Alexander Normal, right?
Sure. Why not?
That's his raid in the Duty Finder. It counts.
You know, I joked about this earlier, but you know, one thing when Alexander Normal came out, you know, everyone treated it as a joke, obviously, but on the top groups on Gilgamesh, we actually took it really seriously, and we made a big race out of it, like in Wing Shells.
Yep.
And you know, it was like 5 different groups racing against each other through Alexander Normal, and it was essentially if you wipe, you lose. So you have to one-shot everything. It was a sprint to the finish line. It was really fun.
I remember that. That was fun.
Yeah.
You guys got in like 30 minutes before we did, though. somebody
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, you guys didn't have 8 members.
Keo's internet wasn't working that day
I remember that. That was funny.
because of some unfortunate circumstances. That was a whole horrible first day of, hey, we've almost beat 827.
I had a lot of fun.
I'm sure you did. And then let's see. So next we had after the feast, which I'm looking forward to. I don't know if I'll make it to Diamond, but we'll see. Hall of Novice.
Platinum.
Hall of Novice got some airtime. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about it before.
I don't know anything about it, to be honest.
It's gonna serve. I think it's gonna serve like Guildhess, but I don't think it'll be ignored like Guildhess were, because I feel like Guildhess didn't really teach anything. This might be a better teacher alongside the whole mentor program or whatnot. This might be a better teacher than what Guildhess were.
I mean, so Hall of Novice is literally supposed to... So Guild has taught you sort of like individual concepts. Like the first one teaches you, hey, groups of enemies don't always have to be pulled together. You know, you can pull groups of enemies separately. And then you have one that teaches you, you know, make sure to pay attention to the objective of what you're actually supposed to be doing here, which is the turtle one. And then they kind of go with that, like they just... kind of go in those individual ideas, but they never really try to teach you how to play your role. Like, they never say, you're a tank, use your AoE skills to get enmity, you know? And that seems to be where Hall of Novice is supposed to fit in, where it's supposed to kind of give you an idea as soon as early level 15, before you even go into the first dungeon, that this is, if you can't complete this, then you should do it again until you figure out how to do it. If you can't hold aggro on all these mobs while these NPC healers are taking care of you, then you should probably do this again. You didn't pass. You got to pass this exam.
Right.
So in conjunction, it seems like they're going to work together. They don't actually fulfill the same role, and then you get rewards like gear and glamour and shit like that. So I don't know. I think that they need. I think I'm happy to see this, along with we'll talk about Stone Sky Sea next, because they actually, for the first time, trying to facilitate players getting better, as opposed to.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, as opposed to just, hey, other people should teach you how to play the game. Figure it out.
I think they can work. I think both the mentoring system and this can work in conjunction. Maybe.
I mean, that's the hope. I mean, level 15, you're still a Sproutling, and you only have access to that chat channel until you hit your 40 hours. As soon as so you better not AFK at like level 1 for 40 hours, or you're gonna lose access to the fucking channel. Yeah, and then it's just achievement. Are you gonna do it for the achievements and the glamour? Are you guys gonna do the Hall of Novice?
I haven't seen the glamour, but if glamour's worth doing it for,
Yeah,
then of course, glamour's the end game.
I mean, I know Chia will do it for achievements. This motherfucker was playing Lords of Verminion for achievements.
That's Lady of Verminion Chia. Show respect.
Oh yeah, sorry Chia, sorry fellow raid member, as Layla has reminded me. And then Stone Sky C. I mean, seriously, do we need this? Can we just get a fucking DPS meter? Is this really the solution? And it has a more epic entrance than all of Alexander did.
Okay. Here's what I've been saying. A personal DPS meter. This could work. It could work, but it's only a dummy scenario. It's only going to teach you. It's not really going to teach you anything. It's only going to, prove that you can DPS, and even at the same time, it's not even going to prove that you can DPS. You could probably fuck up your rotation and still clear that shit. It would work if you had an actual number to go on, for yourself. Overall parser, no. There's good and bad to that. But this, with a personal parser, could work. The only thing we get is the situation. No mechanics, no dodging AoEs, nothing like that. That's what I've been saying.
That's the thing. You're hitting a dummy. All the dummies are the same. Doesn't matter which one I queued up for. If I do, 1400 DPS.
It's a dummy. Okay, it's a dummy with HP. That's all.
Yeah, and its HP is scaled proportionately to tell you if you have the DPS for an individual fight. But you don't know if you have the DPS for that fight because you're not doing any mechanics.
No.
Well, you're getting into some dangerous territory there because you're essentially getting into being able to practice fights outside of raiding and practice on your own time.
Which they spoke about potentially doing back before 3.0. They did.
Which I've never been a fan of, by the way.
Practice mode.
So,
I'm not.
You're not going to find any support here.
Oh, you don't like the idea of practice?
No, I don't. No, I don't like the idea of. No. I don't like the idea of being able to practice phases of fights that you can't consistently reach yourself.
Well, I don't think I would be okay. I mean, I think the idea of let's say in 3.2 they've released practice modes for Gordius Savage.
Okay.
Because you've never done it before. Okay. I'd be okay with that because at that point Gordius Savage is no longer.
I would be fine with that. Yeah. I'm strictly speaking when in a timeline when the content is relevant.
Yeah, I think that's kind of pointless. At least if you can't reach it and finish the phase on your own. I feel like that needs to be the minimum prerequisite for a practice mode, to see the phase in the first place, because otherwise.
So how would they gauge that though? Would there be something?
I don't know. They couldn't even get me into an instance. They couldn't even get me a raid that has 4 continuous bosses in one instance because they probably don't know how to save the file. Save the data from an instance for longer than the period of time you're inside of it. So
that's a good point. I actually didn't think that was actually the reason, but
I feel like that's the reason.
That's probably a very valid point.
The 24-man doesn't if you the timer runs out, that's it. There's no saving progress. And when you save progress, it saves it. Did you clear this instance? Yet true or false? It's a simple if statement. Right. True, move on. Loot unavailable, move on to the next one. So that's why I think we don't have one continuous instance for raids, because they set up the system and it's just they haven't figured out a way to do it. Right. Something WoW has done for 13 years. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, one final thing about Stone Sky C, just one small thing, that backflip though.
Yeah, backflip. Yeah, I saw that.
They mentioned job specific emotes in an interview or something.
But that just looked like a stationary elusive. With a slam the lance down celebration.
I want a backflip when I kill Voltron.
Instead of the normal.
Instead of cocking my axe up on my shoulder and then
Instead of the normal nod.
That's true.
Or the
the nod into the camera when he zooms in. I want to do a backflip.
Yeah. That's true. That Coil you were able to skip trash prog in Coil, and it would save.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's been so long since we've had trash in our raids that I kind of forgot about that.
I like trash also. I mean, this is getting totally off topic, but I miss trash. I'm weird, right?
Wait. Would you want trash in 7?
You liked doing the trash leading up to turn 7?
Well, it's a bit of a tangent, but I like the punishment of trash. And this is weird, but if I take a WoW raid, for example, because I have a very long WoW background, so I'm going to reference WoW here.
Okay.
When I'm when you're progressing through like Serpent Shrine Cavern, for example, which was notorious for ridiculously difficult trash mobs and trash packs, and after you wipe on a boss for 2 hours, you are then punished by the fact that you have to redo the trash that is now respawned. And I think that punishment was not only good to separate the groups that separate groups from the groups that clear quickly, but it was also something that maybe not breaks the monotony, but adds a more lively atmosphere to the instance.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is you want more Faust. Got it. Thanks. Moving on.
Wants Faust. Well, I mean, we are getting more Faust. We're getting Tim and Bob.
Tim and Bob, awesome fight. Great job.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're getting. Next up, we had the Orchestrion. I mean, NPC's mad hype for music change.
Game has good music.
Woo!
Listen to it.
Game does indeed have good music. The Feast had a pretty nice remix of that. I think that was of the Fate theme. The Feast had a remix of.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
In reality, though, that jukebox is just gonna be playing the Papaya song like all day, every day for everyone. So
fucking Mew is not allowed near that thing. All right.
All right. We'll block him from. I'll put restrictions on it.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Just making sure, because like. Somebody asked earlier, how did Mew do Nisi when neither of them are Honey Yellow?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a miracle that you passed it. Are you guys going to be collecting the music sheets? Like,
yeah.
You are? Like, you're going to actually, like, make parties to go do fucking World of Darkness?
We had pony farming parties. Why not this?
Think about the idea of going back to World of Darkness for music sheets.
I'd do it.
I'd do it.
All right.
Game has good music.
Yeah. It does have good music that I have on like 2 or 3 Blu-rays that I can listen to with my Blu-rays. Exactly. And how often do we even go to the EM house, Layla?
I'm there every day.
Are you there and playing every day, or are you there AFK every day?
Yeah, you should come check out our house. We just redesigned it. It looks great now.
Did we pay someone to redesign it, or did we redesign it?
We paid. I think we paid someone to redesign it. I'm pretty sure we paid someone.
I had a feeling.
It looks way too nice to be done by us.
I miss the maze in the basement.
Yeah.
Of the old D&T house, I think that was.
We had there's been a couple mazes in a couple different houses, yeah.
Those are good.
D&T had a good one.
All right. Then we have the Nat B-Stripe quest. Do I need to say much?
I'll say one thing. Please give us more allowances. Pretty please. Please and thank you. This is just
you
one more.
Your anima. What do you need more allowances for?
Who's to say we won't need it in a future step for relic for anima? Okay. All I'm saying is we have how many? 7 beast tribes?
Yeah, we got 7 if you include the
7 beast tribes, and we only have 12 allowances. Not enough. We need 21.
Okay.
I've never done a single beast tribe daily in this game.
I knew that was coming.
I was there with you for a while until I started like the last step of anima, and I was like, "Holy shit! Let me try to."
You know what Layla does instead of that? He carries through Coil and then does A1 and A4 in like a week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he's a crunch time kind of guy. You did only one character. Did you do on both characters?
I'm only doing the relic on my main. I'm not doing a relic on my alt.
All right.
We'll have a Gordian axe and be happy with it.
Yeah, he damn well better be.
Yeah.
I guess we did confirm the non-mind NAF are helping the dragons, which was our theory.
And did you see the Gabi in one of those scenes?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess I mean, the goblins of Idleshire and the Hinterlands, other than the Illuminati, I mean, we're friends with them.
Right.
So, I mean,
but this is in the Forelands, though, isn't it?
I think that cutscene took place in the Hinterlands. I think that specific one was at the camp. I'd have to watch it again.
Okay.
And even though we just watched it, I kind of turn my brain off every time I get to the mount.
Yeah.
Fucking beast tribe. I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Fucking.
The mount is cool though. I want the mount.
The mount is weird. It's
I agree.
It's a really weird.
Is it a seahorse? Is it a? I don't know what the fuck.
I think it's a seahorse. I think it's a dragon or a seahorse, and a seahorse is a dragon. So, in my eyes, a seahorse is a dragon. That's what Pokemon taught me. Seadra and Kingdra were dragons. Okay.
Whoa, were they? Hold on, I'm actually like, I haven't practiced this.
I don't remember. I think think in one instance they were referred to.
It was a dragon species. Yeah, it was a dragon species.
It was?
Yep.
Yes, I knew it. I knew they were dragons. Okay, see? So, I guess seahorse or dragon both count. New dungeons!
Woo!
Yay, more tomes.
I feel like I'm always kind of excited when I see new dungeons, and then I remember that these are going to be the 2 dungeons that I'm going to be running.
You do for 6 months.
I'm going to be doing for 3 months.
3 months, 3 months.
And it's like, I really want to not hate these dungeons in 3 months. I'm probably going to hate at least one of these 2 dungeons.
I don't want to hate these dungeons in the beginning. Because there's usually that letdown, AMDAPOR hard and, AMDAPOR hard and Keeper of the Lake kind of were letdowns to me at the beginning.
We had 3 dungeons back then, though.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
we're they're sticking to the 2 dungeon per patch thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Silence.
So I want to enjoy these dungeons in the beginning and then kind of, get annoyed with them later. I'd rather have that happen than just be annoyed and have to do these shits and be more annoyed later.
Is there really nothing they can do to make 4-mans more prominent in Endgame?
They have been entertaining the idea. They seem to be getting closer and closer to releasing the Savage dungeons.
I mean, just something. I mean, anything at all to break the monotony of killing an expert a day, and that's your 4-man content.
I mean, one thing that they are kind of leaning towards, and we should have maybe mentioned this with the Orchestrion, is the Orchestrions have the music sheets have higher drop rate on minimum item level.
Okay.
So minimum item level for added tomes could be a potential in our near future. And I don't know. I liked minimum item level. I remember I-55 Titania was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I-55 Coil was really fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Except for turn 4. Fuck turn 4. Turn 4 could go die in a fire, okay? Yeah, so we have 2 dungeons. We better get used to it. I really also just wish they would have fucking just leave. I understand they're different item levels. Please just put the 2 latest patches worth in a roulette of 4 and then start pushing them out. I'd be okay with that. But nope, we got 2 more here. The Anti-Tower and the Lost City of AMDAPOR.
Wait. No, not the Anti-Tower. You mean, Ibsen's Castle. Wait,
Ibsen's Castle from Final Fantasy IX, yes.
Memoria. I'm sorry. Yeah, either or. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Final Fantasy references out the wazoo.
Yeah.
I think that's the coolest looking dungeon we've had.
It is.
I agree. Looks cool.
I agree.
It still looks like a dungeon.
It does.
But a cool looking dungeon. That hasn't changed. It still just looks like
it's probably
a dungeon.
In 13 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably going to be cleared in 13 minutes. Yeah, exactly. It also showcased the nightmare fuel that is a boss from Final Fantasy IV. That's Calca and Brina. Those are the names of the 6 dolls.
Those are the dolls.
Yeah, those are the dolls. Calca and Brina.
Okay. Now, before we go into in depth on Calca Brina, this was the one they did say that we were going to get a boss from a past Final Fantasy.
Yes, and it is definitely Calca Brina.
Calca Brina. But with the nods to Ibsen's Castle and Memoria, do you think we're going to get more than one past nod?
No.
You don't think we're going to get something at the end?
We're not going to fight Necron.
They would have teased it.
Yeah, they would have teased it.
Okay.
It's Calca and Brina, which merged to become Calca Brina very originally.
So do you think there's going to be the whole the enrage? Well, it's not. It's going to be kind of a soft enrage where if you don't kill it fast enough, it'll split back into Calca and Brina. Do you think we're going to see that?
I don't know. I think they're gonna just merge into Calca Brina, and I don't know if they'll de-merge back out. It's either gonna be a thing where they merge very often and merge and de-merge very often, or they're just gonna merge once and then we'll fight Calca Brina. I'm leaning towards that.
Okay.
But that shit looks fucking creepy, and I hadn't really touched on it. They have a lot of really good models for their like a lot of
patch specifically. Yeah.
In 4 wasn't Calca Brina a male doll instead of a female?
No, look at that thing. It's creepy as fuck. That's all I know. It's got kid pigtails. It's giving me BioShock nightmares.
Yeah, it was a female doll. Never mind.
It was a female. I'm looking at it.
Yeah. It's fucking creepy. Okay, it's got eye lasers. It's naked when it's Calca Brina. It's fucking creepy. Okay, that's all I know.
Yeah.
And then we have the Lost City of AMDAPOR hard mode, which looks to be infested with light elementals.
So basically, how it was before Diablos came.
Yeah, which the AMDAPOR, if I remember, they caused the flood from messing with white magic.
Right.
And it looks like the light elementals might have been the result of that. So that caused a 6 umbral calamity last time. So we should probably stop that from happening again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, there's a lot of story that goes into that format.
There's a lot of story that goes into
I like it when
all
dungeons
of the
have a lot of
formats.
story into it.
It's the only thing that makes me interested in them past the first day.
Yeah.
is the story in them. Do you care about the story, Layla?
When it comes to the formans, I generally just press my 0 key quite quickly to get through.
Well, happy I know your next partner for Aor Zivia. Congrats, Layla.
Yeah, except for the fact that the next one is Ethos.
Ethos, yeah.
So
the one where it's actually us, Layla, you're gonna be Happy's partner. Congratulations.
Yeah, I don't think that's balanced, Sly.
Was it balanced with me and Adagio?
True point.
There.
Anyway. And as per usual, the music in both these dungeons.
Still love you, Adagio. Still love you, just saying. But still, just saying.
He ducked out of Mog Talk this last Actually, I guess he didn't duck out. He had something to do. Music on these dungeons is both spot on. Music in general has been pretty fucking spot on this entire trailer.
I mean, we haven't got to the Alexander bit yet, but the music for the Voltron fight.
Yeah.
I was really into that. But we'll get to that.
We'll talk about that because I got some thoughts on that one. That's going to be interesting. So, Layla's enthusiasm has struck me. And excited for this dungeon? Any of these dungeons? Excited? Is that a word?
I mean, the Calcabrine is cool. I think their rendition of it in Final Fantasy IV, because they always when they port these fights back into Final Fantasy XIV, they always add their own little flavor to it. So it's interesting to see their take on it, and I think it is cool to see it in Final Fantasy XIV. But at the end of the day, it's just going to be my expert roulette, and it's just what it's going to be for the next 3 months.
That's unfortunate. That's true. What about you, Sly?
I'm excited, especially for Anti-Tower. I feel like I do agree that I feel like Lost City is going to have a little bit more lore than Anti-Tower. But I still think once I get my hands on it, Anti-Tower will probably be my overall fave.
I'm hoping, because I actually thought these last 2 dungeons they did, the Arboretum and Pharaoh's Hard, were actually pretty good. I've yet to become sick of them like I did Neverreap, and I'm still not sick of Fractal. So I'm
sick of Fractal.
Yeah, don't be a bitch. So yeah, I'm perfectly okay with them. Listen, anything's better than a fucking boss that halfway through my opener disappears, and then halfway through it again.
I agree. I mean, either or was fucked up, but I just hated Fractal. Yeah. I got tired of seeing Fractal. That's because that's all I got. Every time I did Expert, that's all I got. It was fucking Fractal.
What's your curse, Layla? What's your curse dungeon?
What did I used to get all the time? I get Keeper of the Lake all the time.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
All the time.
Yep.
Keeper wasn't that bad.
I don't mind it, but I get it all the time.
Well, all right. Calm down, Sly. Calm down.
It's actually really quick if you go through it. Oh
yeah.
It's actually one of the quicker dungeons, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people did it for Poetics farming when they didn't have coil carries. For the other thing, they would just do level 50 runs of that for like 100 Poetics a pop. Next we have Hildebrand. He's back.
Yes,
as promised.
But I wasn't expecting it this soon, and in this form, because if you look at the trailer, you see clearly at the bottom the Hildebrand icon. I know we didn't get something that kind of solidified Scholasticate on its own, but this is Hildebrand. This isn't the Scholasticate. I don't think we're going to get any more Scholasticate quests right now. Maybe in 3.25, maybe. But this is strictly Hildebrand.
And also, looks like Rams is with him. I don't know if you know who that is. That's a character from Tactics. That fucking kid that they're backing away from. That looks like Ramza from Final Fantasy Tactics.
I didn't get that feeling, but
yeah, me either.
Pull up a picture of Ramza and look at.
I know what Ramza looks like.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy Tactics is my favorite Final Fantasy.
It's pretty shocking how similar they look.
It's a bit of a stretch.
I don't think it is him, but they look very, very similar. It's just strange to me how... And we know that Hildebrand, they love throwing things from the old Final Fantasies, like, more out in the open in Hildebrand. Like, it's very clearly from a previous Final Fantasy, and it's kind of self-aware. So, yeah, and then we had the Sir Zombie in the background.
Yeah.
Zombie... I don't know, I always love seeing the Hildebrand teaser, because it's always so short, and you have no idea what the fuck is about to happen. It's not like all the other things where you can kind of dissect it that much. It's always just like, what the all right, it's Hildebrand, whatever. Some shit's going to happen.
Okay, but with this Hildebrand, do you think we're going to get... One, do you think we're going to get a new trial? And two, is this going to be a classic Final Fantasy boss like we've seen in past, as of recent past Hildebrand patches?
I don't think we'll get it in this patch. I think they would have teased it in some way, shape, or form if we were legitimately going to fight something.
So you don't think we'll get a trial at all?
Not
I think
in this
they're designing so many trials already. I mean, we're probably gonna have a big MSQ trial. We've got the big primal. We've got a whole new raid tier. We've got all these other feast. I mean, there's tons of trials there. I don't think they have time for Hildebrand.
And for those of y'all saying it in chat, we're not going to see Greg. We're not going to see a Greg.
Not yet.
Not yet. We're going to get a battle at Big something in the future. I don't know what
battle at the big church. I don't
battle
know.
at the big castle.
And it'll be in the vault.
But yeah, not yet.
They should really take some battleground, like some of the arenas from the dungeons and turn them into fucking PvP arenas.
Agreed.
Like Halatali.
Battle at the big Dino Island.
Battle at Dino Island.
Battle at Big Diadem.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to be in 3.3. It won't be the diadem. It'll be a new zone that is part of exploratory missions. Don't forget about that. In 3.3, it's not the diadem anymore.
Are we still going to see dinosaurs?
Probably. I'm going to assume we'll still see dinosaurs.
What's the lore behind the why are the dinosaurs there? Why are they trapped on islands?
I think Ethis actually had an answer to that.
I don't remember.
I want to know why the dinosaurs are trapped on islands.
That's how they got away from the end. That's the meteor. That's how they got away.
Is that where they
the irony that a dinosaur can cast meteor as well is
ironic.
Staggering.
Yeah.
Then we had new recipes and hairstyles.
Woo!
Yeah.
I like the new glamour. I liked it.
You do? Is glamour your end game?
Glamour's my end game. I'm trying to convince my raid team to actually just skip Midas progression and let's go farm the Diabol High Elgin gear.
But what about the new glamour from Midas?
Can it really beat Diabol High Elgin?
What? Okay, here we go. This is something I've been hearing a lot of. People are actually excited about this. I'm more of in the meh column. Like, I know glamour is the true end game, yada yada yada. But what makes this so special? Help me out. Help me, please.
Because to be fair, High Elgin was probably the best looking raid gear.
Still is.
We had. Yeah.
The healing robe, the tank chest. I didn't like the Dragoon High Elgin gear actually, but most of the High Elgin gear is just top of the line glamour.
And now it's Diabol.
I
blame Doga.
Dye it all honey yellow.
Exactly. See, I blame Doga and Une for making people want it so bad because that happened with fucking Circus Tower, and they were just like, "How come they get fucking Diabol?"
Yeah, well, exactly. They whetted our appetite with those two NPCs, and now
Savage should have Diabol High Elgin. That's what everyone was saying.
It still should have.
I mean, that's what Gordius had, didn't it?
Yeah,
item levels.
I guess you're right. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of didn't care of that. I could dye it, to be fair.
Yeah.
The new hairstyles are from Type 0.
Woo!
All 5 of them.
Cool homage, but I probably won't wear them.
Me either. I mean, my character.
It's cool.
My character's me, so I'm not gonna. I mean, if I made another character, I would want Nine's hairstyle, of course.
I mean, they'll probably add the rest of the Type 0 hairstyles. They'll probably add them.
Yeah.
In the following patch.
Please give us the Academia outfits. I would definitely wear it.
Veteran reward.
Probably.
Which means I'll have it way before you, Sly.
Probably.
We were talking the other night about a veteran reward that they should probably do. Why don't we have a Rydia costume yet?
I don't know.
Should
What do we
Rydia
have?
costume by now.
We have what? Cloud, Zidane, Warrior of Light, Furion.
Yeah, you have the Furion.
Shit, I forgot one of them.
Did you?
I think I did. I mean, we have Cecil's helmet. Cecil's helmet, but we don't have the full outfit.
You're in circlet.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I was missing one, but still. Someone wants Terra, of course. I don't know. We got a lot of glamours. I'm sure at some point. We have lightning. That's the big one.
The lightning one, yeah. The
Lightning
lightning snow.
Yeah, I knew I was forgetting one that was pretty obvious, but I'd like to forget about the lightning ones. Okay, so new recipes, hairstyles. Woohoo! Alexander Midas. This was another style.
This thing.
There's a raid coming out.
Yeah, there's a raid.
Is there?
I know we just went from glamour, which was the major highlight, but we have to talk about the raid.
Why did nobody tell me?
Wait. They're both in game, so.
I mean,
Yeah, it's the end game segment in the trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is the end game.
This is all the end game is at the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
You know. So first of all, still looks like 4 bosses.
Yep.
2 Fausts.
I really
Tim and Bob.
Tim and Bob, awesome raid, great job.
Good job.
I am still one of those people. I'm a hopeful that we'll have 5 bosses at some point. I'm a hopeful.
I mean,
It's a
everyone's
stretch.
hopeful, but it's not going to happen.
It could happen at some point. I mean, they're trying to hire people. They're trying.
I don't necessarily need 5 turns, but I need more. Well, I don't need, but what I would like to see is
That'll make the progression race interesting. 5 turns.
make it. Well, honestly, I think it'd make it a little bit easier for them because if you take the way that WoW does their raids, WoW has like 10 to 13 bosses per tier.
Yeah.
What ends up happening actually is the first 5 bosses are pushovers. Like all of them are just pushovers.
Right.
And then you start to get the middle of the pack, and then the middle of the pack starts getting at A2, A3 difficulty, and then you get to the your heroic Grosh, which is manipulator level of.
I was gonna say there's 11 easy bosses and 2 hard ones in every single WoW tier. I'm thinking back to except Ulduar. Ulduar was the kind of.
I'm talking more recently.
More recently.
Post-Cataclysm.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessarily the case, but way back in the day, yeah. I mean, you had 9 Jokers, and then it actually was hard.
Yeah, because Cataclysm. I'm trying to think. Cataclysm had Omnitron defense system was pretty rough. That was them, Nefarian, and the Elemental Council. Those were the 3 big ones.
From the first tier.
Yeah, from the first tier. Because I did server first prog.
Okay.
That tier. So that's the tier I remember. And then you had Firelance, which was a fucking joke. All 6 of them except for Ragnaros, who was like heroic Lich King levels. Oh man, those are good days. Layla and I should talk about that one time.
Yeah, we could have a whole show just talking about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about World of Warcraft for one whole show.
I don't know if that'd go over well with the crowd.
Yeah, I don't know how well that. Yeah, State of the Realm. Let's talk about WoW. So we got 4 bosses. Let's talk about each of them. Yeah, because these are way more interesting than the Oppressor, the Goblin, the Goblin Squad, Living Liquid, and we all know it's more interesting than the Manipulator.
Yeah.
So
hopefully,
the first. boss,
at least these can walk.
That's true. Well, yeah, okay, they can all walk. So the first boss, and I'm gonna give them all nicknames. The Mad Scientist. Okay. So I'm giving them all nicknames. We don't know what their names are.
All right, sure. We don't know.
Some people are calling him Dr. Luge because the doctor from Final Fantasy IV, him and Barnabas, I think, were the 2 bosses, and they kind of merge into a super being, and he kind of looks like Dr. Luge. He's got the same kind of hair, and basically, small goblin takes steroids, becomes big goblin.
Yeah,
Dr. Jekyll.
Yeah, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And there's bombs and craziness, but the big thing everyone's talking about is the red and blue circles.
Yep. Gorilla duty.
The gorilla. It's not Godwalker duty. I don't think it's Godwalker.
Gorilla duty.
No, it's not Godwalker duty. Now it's gorilla duty. No. Now you have to assign people to become fucking gorillas. And I'm going to assume those bombs look pretty big. The gorilla is the only thing strong enough to move the bombs.
You would imagine.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's literally Godwalker duty if that's the case, because, that's all it is.
Please don't give me a gorilla mount.
No, you're going to be a fucking gorilla, all right?
I don't want a gorilla mount. I don't want no.
A gorilla mount?
No.
You still don't even have your Godwalker mounts, calm down.
No.
The blue one, we're thinking either cleanses that
it.
or changes you into something else. I'm thinking it cleanses the gorilla.
Yeah, I'm thinking it cleanses. I didn't see any other kind of thing.
Well, nobody else walked into the blue circle. I'm surprised they went as far as to show them walking into the red circle, because that's a pretty big tell.
They don't want to give us all the mechanics.
It's a pretty big tell to fucking turn this into a big gorilla. That's a pretty big mechanic to give away. And also, I don't know about you guys.
At the same time, like, how many pulls is it actually going to take you to realize that you go into the circle and you become a gorilla? I mean, come on. That's a pretty... Yeah, one. A one.
And then also, I don't know about you guys, but any boss that has a knockback, I either think you will be able to fall off or the wall is made of fire.
Well, remember in A3, it's not going to be an insta-death. A3 only had, it was like the penalty wall.
Technically, Thornton wasn't instant death either, but it might as well have been.
It might as well have been, but this is Alexander we're talking about. So I don't think it's going to be like insta-death. It'll be like I don't even think it'll be a penalty. That's the only thing I can think of with A3. It was like electric and paralysis. That's the only thing you got. Yeah, I just don't see. They
have a really bad tendency of any time there's a knockback, you are being thrown into. You're something you do not want to be knocked back into. That's pretty much the biggest reason. I don't want to get knocked off. I don't want to get knocked into the. Maybe get knocked into the red circle, become a gorilla, and you don't want to do that. Whenever I don't know about you, Layla, whenever I see a knockback, I get PTSD and I think of dive bombs.
I have, speculations. I'm wondering if...
Please?
Well, I'm wondering if it's going to see more of a penalty in Savage than a normal mode. Maybe the circles in the ground the void zones in the ground that we're alluding to, maybe they don't disappear in Savage. Maybe they're going to be filling up the map, and getting knocked into them would be detrimental. I mean, there's a lot of different play they could do.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty common thing. The ever expanding,
the ever shrinking field of battle as the fight progresses. I mean, could be something similar.
I thought we were going to have that back in turn 5 when I saw the last phase of Twintania. I was like, oh, those are never going to go away.
With the liquid hell, yeah.
Liquid hell, yeah.
I thought we were going to have it back then. I'm surprised they haven't done it yet.
I'm still disappointed to this day that the final phase of Bahamut, Earthshaker puddles disappeared.
Yeah,
I think they should not have disappeared. It should have just been filling the whole arena, and that should have been the final phase.
Yeah, I agree.
You should have had to move Bahamut around to adapt. It was just a lot of missed opportunity.
A lot of covers.
Bahamut Savage.
Yeah, Bahamut Savage.
Bahamut Savage. That was the one thing we were prepared for. Is there was going to be Earthshaker puddles that never disappeared.
And then they never did it. They're like, nah, we'll just wait. We'll wait till Gordius.
Yeah.
Great idea. Second boss, the Mighty Morphin Goblin Rangers Part 1.
Oh, okay.
Well, I know that joke is pretty much best saved for the last boss, but it feels
it's not, because it's Voltron. But we haven't got there yet. Go ahead.
Yeah, we took a poll the other day, and I took a poll of Voltron versus Megazord, and Voltron won unanimously.
I'm a Voltron guy, but I wouldn't affiliate this part with Voltron. I would only affiliate the last part with Voltron, because this looks like you're fighting the individual parts that eventually you see in the final one. The final one, they have colors on them. That's the only.
Well, we've got Power Rangers airing now, and then Voltron will air later in the
broadcast
later in the broadcast or whatever the Power Rangers back then.
It looks like Turn 2 to me, with a gauntlet, beat 4 bosses in a row, and you're on a time limit. That's what it looks like it is to me. And each boss is got a lot of similar attacks, but they all have their own individual mechanic. That's what I'm looking at here. Right? I'm thinking, I saw something that looked like Nisi, by the way. I hope it's not, but I couldn't help but notice that it looks like Digi/Nisi.
So wait, you don't
the blue
think
circles?
Yeah.
Yeah. My heart skipped a beat too when I saw that. Actually, I think it even had a similar sound effect.
Yeah, and the platforms are raising and lowering constantly, which looks like it could be a fun little thing. I mean, there was a lot of things going on. There was an attack where they charged. There's fire puddles. The platforms going up and down. I mean, anything's better than A2 Savage, I think. Yep. I hope.
But that was just. But this was in the same. When I looked at it, it was in the same instance. So there was the circular.
It's the cuff of the sun. Basically,
that's what I'm saying. There was the circular pad at the end, and then before that, it was blocked off, as it usually is when the 15-second timer goes off, and then before that was the platforms. So we were thinking maybe all same instance, all same turn, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to beat them all on a time limit, like turn 2.
Okay.
Where it starts you at the first one, and you have to beat it all before the enrage timer.
Okay.
Including the run time to get there. Or Alexander's going to fuck your day, pretty much. I wonder what kind of time limit we're looking at here, though. And I wonder if it's just all 4 of the robots. I don't think they hit a 5th robot or like some sort of boss at the end, but that's what I'm looking at.
Do you think they'll throw in a self-destruct mechanic? Because we saw that in...
Yeah, there's going to be something there that's going to limit your time.
Yeah, I mean, you'll pull the first... If that's the case, then you'll pull a mob, and then some arbitrary timer will start ticking down, just like turn 2 did, where you had the countdown in the chat. You know, maybe something similar.
Yeah. The third boss is Dr. Robotnik.
From which Sonic?
Seriously, though, it's Quick Thinks All Talks. You can see his cat prancing around the arena. And honestly, I think the cat's going to have a mechanic where like he's going to try to insta-kill you with something, and if you go stand next to his cat,
Cat just wants to play with the ball.
That's true. There is the giant ball that rolls around. The reason I call him
Which I'm
Dr.
scared
Robotnik,
of.
though, that is absolutely the fucking egg carrier, or in this case, the gob carrier.
Yeah, because it does
When he
float.
gets up and flies around,
Yeah, that is absolutely the gob carrier. Like, I refuse to call him anything but Dr. Robotnik.
So you think the cat will have kind of something like a mana ward, like in Halotali?
I just think that, yeah, like you go near the... No, I think he's just going to be afraid to shoot at you if you go near the cat.
Ah.
He's going to be like, no, my cat!
That's interesting.
I will not shoot my cat. Spikes coming out of the ground. That looks fun.
Yeah. And then the ball and chains.
Oh, and that's another reason why it's Sonic. It's fucking Spikes coming out of the ground. Sonic's worst enemy. Well, and Mega Man's, but...
Yeah.
I'm really, really, really scared of that ball.
Why?
Because I know this game's history of positional updating.
Yep.
Dodging a rolling object coming at me, I'm scared.
Yeah, it made me think of, Brayflox?
Maybe think of Never Reap when the boss just goes around the arena. And like how I'm like, okay, I'm out of this. No, yeah.
Nope. I thought of the rolling gob machine in Brayflox Hard.
Is it a ball or is it a bomb? I think it's a ball. It's a marble.
I think it's
It
just
looks like a ball.
big metal ball, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, Super Mario 64, you get the balls, the big black ball rolling down the hill on the first stage.
Yeah. There's 4 squares in the corner and a circle in the middle, all that don't have spikes. There was false-looking ads. He could lift and separate party members. That's looking like a fun fight. Not exactly the fight you'd expect for, like, the 3rd floor. It's nothing. It doesn't have the same epic feel that, like, Liquid did, because Liquid was kind of like a towering figure over you. Mm-hmm. But Quick Things All Talks is looking like he's bringing the pain. Especially bombs chaining to people. I don't like that. Spikes were up at the same time, too. I'm scared. I'm scared of this fight. I think this fight's going to be really fucking annoying on Savage.
I think it looks fun.
Yeah,
well, annoying and fun are the same to me. So,
Oh, okay.
Like
That's weird, but okay.
I thought Turn 8 Savage looked annoying and
What a
fun.
masochist.
Yeah, I like it. I played 11 for 7 years. Listen.
That's
If anything-
true masochism.
Yeah, that's true masochism right there. Thinking that these bombs got a small explosion radius. I love guessing on these mechanics. I love seeing them and just instantly tearing them apart. Even though the trailers sometimes tell us nothing and even tell us the wrong thing about mechanics. Like, yeah, we changed it after the trailer. Sorry. And then
Well, the one thing that I will say is I think it's safe to say that none of these fights they're showing us are the Savage iterations of the fight. They're probably all of these clips are probably taken from normal mode.
Normal.
yeah, absolutely.
I would be hard pressed to believe that they're showing anything from Savage right now.
They
Nope.
don't. I don't think they ever do.
Yeah.
Well, they've only had one opportunity, and the only trailer we got for Alexander Gordius was a 1 minute and 14-second clip of the first 2 bosses. So, I mean, I was even surprised because now we're going to final boss. This is the first time they've ever had a trailer show us the final boss. I mean, you can kind of count Nail Deus Starnus because they teased it, but like this
Can
was
we really confirm that?
This is the final fucking boss. Okay, we know they have the 4 boss thing. This was
Okay.
the big reveal here at the end. It's fucking Voltron.
Yeah,
But we didn't see we
they
didn't
didn't
see
show the fight.
It's definitely the final fight.
Okay.
They didn't show the fight. They only so they didn't go too far out of bounds of what they normally do. But them showing the boss at all is kind of new. Yeah.
And not only that, but by the way, I'd like to believe, and another reason why I called Quick Thinks Robotnik is because I'm almost positive he's going to escape from the third one and then make the fucking Voltron here. Like the last boss of Sonic 2.
Sonic, yeah.
Sonic 2, he's in the robot. The robot
Oh my
one.
god.
Yeah.
The references.
And fucking telling you, look.
Do you think the devs will throw like a nod to Sonic some way somehow?
Listen, there's fucking
He
bombs
does.
and rolling and
Something like in terms of the naming, I guess, or something.
no, I think it's gonna be like basic things like Gob Walker.
Okay.
I think they might call this the G.O.B.L.I.N.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't know what that would stand for though, but I mean, Koji Fox has got an imagination.
Yeah, he does.
So, this doesn't look like the start of the fight, by the way. This looks like the middle of the fight transition. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
oh,
say
yeah,
that
it's
also.
the middle of the fight.
Like,
for sure.
So what if we start the fight by fighting the manipulator?
Oh my god.
You doesn't even want to think about that. What if it's only like Leviathan, where it's like the first 5%
Well, one
of the
part
fight?
does look like the manipulator. It does
A
have
little bit.
Yeah.
The middle
It's like a smaller manipulator.
Right.
Yeah. What if it's just like the first 5%? It's like Leviathan, where he's just auto attacks for 5% and then transforms.
Chain cast Nissy.
Then he starts casting Nisi. Oh, you shouldn't joke around about that.
Yeah, I know I should.
Because they have a... Let's be real about here. Coil had a very, very common theme with all the last bosses having a very similar moveset.
Alexander's
dive bombs.
recurring theme.
Of
Judgment
dolls.
Nisi?
Yeah, no, I hope the returning theme is dolls, not fucking Nisi.
Okay.
But we haven't had a second last boss to look at. I think that the returning thing will be Quarantine. There's
Maybe.
a Quarantine hole in the back. I saw it.
It's the it's like the same room as Manipulator,
But the
just
other arm.
in a different area. Yeah, in the other arm.
Yeah.
So you think we're just gonna have another quarantine DPS check again?
It's not the exact same thing, but like...
I would imagine they're not going to repeat mechanics. That would be really, really, really boring.
Did you even do Coil?
Okay. All right, well, all right. Fair point.
Did you even do Coil? Like, every fight had dive bombs and
Dive
fiery
bombs.
wall.
Mhm. Well, now I think the thing for Alexander is just bombs. Period.
No, I think it's the dolls. I think like Faust and the dolls are like, because I mean, look at first one, Faust, then dolls, Yag dolls, then Liquid, which is kind of immune, and then fucking Quarantine dolls, Straff dolls, fucking more Yag dolls, like just dolls. And then we have 2 Fausts now. There's dolls in the third fight. There's dolls everywhere.
It's going to be a lot of dolls with 2 Fausts.
It's a lot of dolls. A lot of dolls. Oh man. Overall thoughts of these Midas bosses?
Interesting. Like a good aesthetic, but the one central thing you have to remember about this, and same thing with Sephiroth, it's dimmed down. It's not going to be. I mean, it's still Savage when you're talking about Savage, but still, it's not going to be as difficult as A3 was. There's not going to be that.
We don't know that yet. That's what they've claimed.
Okay.
And a lot of times, what they claim doesn't get reflected in what they produce. What I would say is we're probably not going to see as tight of enrages as we saw in Gordius.
Mm-hmm.
But mechanically, I'm ready for them to throw anything. Anything that's difficult. I don't think they're looking at Gordius and being like, Judgment Nisi was too hard. We can't have a mechanic as difficult as Judgment Nisi was. I don't think they're going to view it that way at all. I think they're going to tone down the DPS checks maybe.
Okay.
But I'm fully prepared for them to just throw 3 Nisses at me against Voltron.
Okay, define fucking prepared.
I have the mental fortitude. I've been training it for 6 months to be able to cope with the fact that there's 3 Nisses.
That's not good, Layla. You need help. You never wish 3 Nisis upon yourself. or ever.
You always got to plan for the worst. That's progression 101. Got to plan for the worst.
I'm gonna hope Carnage is the mechanic and not Nisi. Please.
But I guess the other thing is, tight DPS checks, while to make enrage, are not always going to be a part of the equation. Week 1 progression and early stages of progression at very low gear levels are always going to have tight DPS checks. It may not be tight DPS check to clear the fight, but it might be a tight DPS check to get through a phase cleanly, or to get through a mechanic cleanly. We're going to be pushed to deal big damage, regardless of how they want to tune the fight. Just for those factors alone.
Yeah, and crafted gear. We'll
see crafted gear. Crafted gear, to my knowledge, is going to be gated probably. Unlike it was in Final Coil. Final Coil is pretty much just you had access to everything week 1.
Yeah.
So we'll probably see gated crafted gear this tier, and that'll come into play for certain.
Yeah. All right. Well, the final part of the trailer is the main story, which doesn't tell us too much more than we already knew. Most of these scenes are just the full depictions of the screenshots we spoke about last week. The biggest part is really Matoya talking about how people need to be willing to fight, kill, and die to win a war.
Do you really think that somebody is?
I don't know. The only person who stayed dead at this point is Moonbrita. All right, and theoretically Gaius and the Asians. But we keep talking about people dying, and I guess Hoshfont. And I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that Iceheart's gone completely. But the people there are too many people with plot armor. I want people to stop having plot armor. I want people to start fucking dying. Please. It's more interesting. I was way more interesting when I thought everyone was dead at the end of 2.55.
Okay.
Who's next?
Yeah, that's the big question.
People keep saying Ralban is next, because for some reason he's standing in front of us like an asshole.
Like in Dark Knight armor.
No, he's in his usual armor. It looks very ominous.
Okay. So some people have been saying that we might have the fight Ralban in just like a little mini instance. I'm saying that little scene's probably a red herring, and we don't really. It's just really a confrontational scene, more so than.
That's how I took it.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I think we're gonna have one of those solo trials kind of deal, I guess looking back to 3.0, the one against the new. What was his name? The fucking Legatus, or whatever his name is. The fucking one that's with the Emperor right now.
Oh, in the Empire. What is his name?
It's the first boss from Aether Chemical.
Regula.
Yeah, Regula von
Hydra.
Yeah, Regula von Hydra.
There you go.
Yeah, him. Something along those lines. I think we will actually fight Ralban. Over what, I don't know, but I don't think he's going to die. I don't think we're going to kill him. I just think something he wants to do, we're standing in his way, and if we're not with him, we're against him.
Yeah, I could actually see that playing out that way.
Yeah, and he's only got one arm, but he's got to know he's an idiot to challenge us at this point. He
can still be a beast with one arm. Don't.
Whatever he's challenging us over is.
Don't put it past him.
It's always going to be something with Ul'dah. With him, it's always something with Nanamo. So some shit's going to have happened. I don't know. I don't think Nanamo's going to die again, or we're going to find out it's a fake Nanamo. No, this was a fake. That's not really her.
What if they killed Nanamo again?
You kill her again.
And she stays dead?
How much of a revolt would there be?
That pissed me off the most, that they killed her and then said, no, she's not dead. She was asleep.
It was a cop-out. It was a cop-out.
Yeah, when are we going to get
that pissed me off so much. I was like, the bitch should have been dead. Give me somebody to grieve.
So you heard it, folks. Happy hates Lala's confirmed. Yay. Yeah.
If Lala dies, I want him to stay dead. All right? That's all I'm going to say.
He's racist.
Let's see. And then just any real thoughts on this final segment here with the story? It's a lot of just bullshit.
I'm looking forward to seeing how Minfilia is involved.
I think she's bound to Hydaelyn, forever. I don't think she can leave.
I'm not saying forever.
I think that like we're gonna have conflict with Hydaelyn over the fact that Minfilia is like stuck there.
Yeah, I don't think she's permanently bound though.
I think she is.
I feel like she's more of a conduit for Hydaelyn and possibly Zodiark if the Ascians get their hand on her, which they've proven is so easy.
Well, what's that? No blessing? All right, we're here.
Yeah.
We can just walk in here. Like, I'm Elidibus. I'm just going to walk in here. Okay? That's it. I'm good. All right. Any closing thoughts on the trailer and how the patch is looking to shape up? Is it just more of the same, or are we actually looking at, like, a solid patch?
I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a step up from where the game's at right now. I would anticipate, at least. Anything that isn't Gordius is good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that isn't died.
Unless they,
Well, they are. A lot of things aren't in this trailer that are really important to the current player base, like the changes to the diadem, the tank changes, the materia changes, like things you can't really talk about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be, and of course changes to group poses, the most important thing. And the Titan minion.
And the Titan minion. Yeah, we talked a little bit about the Titan minion.
He looks so fucking funny. What about you, Sly?
A lot of things I'm interested in. Mainly main story quest. Hoping it'll be longer than 3.1 was, because that was
like an hour.
Yeah. Well,
Plus
it took me 2 hours because I actually paid attention to.
I paid attention to the whole thing too, and it still only took me an hour.
Bullshit. You didn't pay attention to it. You know you did. You even said you didn't.
No, I said I didn't do it again.
Looking forward to the feast once we get our hands on it. Definitely interested in the Sephiroth fight. Mentoring Hall of the Novice, meh. Stone Sky Sea, meh. But yeah, big thing probably for me is Alex.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to everything. I just like having stuff to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think
something that
everybody's
isn't doing now.
I think that's the thing. I like having something to do. And if doing the diadems, doing Void Ark's going to be worth it again.
Right.
I did my Void Arcs both this week because I think the Miyachi Farthings are going to be how we get our grade 5s from there.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm hoping. If not, I'm going to be really upset that I did it this week.
I would have. What else would it be? Unless there's a new currency they add for completing Void Arc.
God, I hope not.
Maybe a weekly quest or something.
God, I hope not. Please, don't do this. Don't do it. Just let me be happy. I have my farthings. I have my grade 5 materia waiting. Please. All right. Sly, do you want to do the usual thing you do at the end?
Yes, I do.
Right.
Every week, at the end of every episode, I do a conversation with Happy and our guest, Layla, today. And the topic today, and I'll kind of tie it into what we were talking about in the first part of the show, which was World First Prague, but free companies. And this might not be for the veterans. This might be for some of the new people watching, new to the game. And then we'll get to the raid free companies and things like that. But free companies in general. When should you join? Should you join? Why should you join?
Oh, man. That actually kind of reminds me of people who kind of just say, like, because obviously I stream a lot, so a lot of people just say, Happy, can I join your free company?
Right.
I have no idea what it entails. Like, why do I want to join this free company? Do I want to join this free company in the first place? Just like, can I join it? It's like, you might want to do a little bit more research about Elysium before you just ask me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people just don't even think about it. They just look at people who play and they're just like, yeah, join.
And that's another side of it, which we'll get to in a minute, recruitment. But why? Why, when, and should you?
Well, I think when it comes to free companies in this game, there is a a very interesting line between what makes a free company and what makes a link shell.
Okay.
And to me, today I'm the co-leader of Elysium, and I help manage the free company. And to me, what is important when it comes to free companies is if you're choosing to join a free company or you're interested in joining a free company, you're wanting to join it because you're wanting to support their goal and vision. And I think if you were somebody who was playing the game with a group of friends, and maybe your group of friends is a part of a link shell, and you're wanting to maybe that link shell is made up of different free companies, and you're wondering, should I join your free company? Well, do you want to support our vision for how we want to enjoy the game? And that's essentially what it comes down to when you're joining a free company. Do you share the same vision for how you want to play the game? And I think that's where you would start with that conversation.
Hap, what do you say?
That's definitely where you would start. And it's something that most people just don't even consider. A lot of people look at the idea of applying to free companies and kind of, scoff at it. Like, what the fuck? I'm not going to apply, motherfucker. I just want to play the game. And it's like, but this is to make sure that, you don't join and then all of a sudden you want this out of the free company and you don't even know really what you're doing with the free company.
Right.
And that's, I see that far too often where people just have this blind idea. Like, there's a lot of things you can just join. Like, just a PvP link shell, for example. You want to join a PvP link shell, great. You don't need an entire free company for that. You don't have to be in anyone there's free company because you've already nailed down that is the one single goal that you have. Whereas a free company is more of, how do I say, a community to me. Everything that comes together there is all in search of a common goal, whereas link shells, you're kind of just looking for other people that want to play this game the same way you do. This is more of a, like Layla said, it is a fine line. Like, it sounds like I'm saying the same thing, but the tone is different in each of them. It's so hard. Like, I have a link shell for my raid group, for example, that's in Elysium.
Okay.
I still play with those people, but the link shell accomplishes a different goal. And my headset just died, so if you say anything to me, I probably won't be able to hear it. But the link shell just accomplishes a different goal. It's got a more focused goal, I guess, is the where I'm trying to put it. Whereas a free company doesn't have to have just one focused goal. It can have a lot of sub goals and whatnot.
Happy, can you hear me?
And now I can hear again.
Okay, good. Now, both of you touched on something which was like the purpose, like FCs having, a goal or a purpose.
Yeah.
And then there are some FCs who are just, casual. It's just a friendly FC.
Sure.
There's no real goal in mind. There's no rating or things like that. Some are heavy on crafting, gathering.
The lack of a goal is a goal to me, because that's what you have in common with the entire free company. You have no goal.
Well, I wouldn't say no goal though, but there are things. I feel like there are things casual free companies can do. I mean, you can do pretty much the same things that more serious quote unquote free companies can do. You can still, if you want to do the exploratory diadem voyages, you can do that as long as you have the fucking airship. But it does go back to what you were saying, is you have to determine a goal. Basically, I feel like free companies, it's a community. Like you said, it's a community. But I just don't look at them too seriously. And yeah, you do have your rating free companies. I mean, you have Elysium. And I'm going to get to that. I'm going to hit that now. Rating free companies. There are statics. I mean, there are statics, and then there are free companies who raid together. Now, I'll just ask. With Elysium, if they applied to be a part of Elysium, would they have to be a part of free company? Could they just do their own thing, or would they have to be a part of free company?
You mean be a part of rating?
Yeah.
If you're, if I'm understanding correctly what you're asking, if you're applying to join the free company Elysium, or if you're just applying to be play with members of Elysium.
Yeah, or raid. But do you really?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you really need? I mean, because statics do the same thing. I mean, I have, like, for example, I raided with my static, they had a free company. I still had my free company, but most of them were in that free company. I still did my own thing.
Gotcha.
I didn't need to, join their free company or give up my free company.
So the dynamic we have set, at least in RFC, is if you're a Elysium supported raid team, then we require you to be part of the free company.
Okay.
And when you're applying to a raid team, you're actually applying to our free company.
Okay.
And going through all the holes and hoops to get in to go through that process. So there's more to it than just applying to a raid team at that point. You are applying to a greater community, and we're making sure that you're a good fit for that community that you're wanting to join into. Then you have the different levels inside the free company when it comes to the various statics, because Elysium is a rating FC that has 5, maybe potentially 6 in the future supported raid teams right now. And even in the past we had more. We had 9 at one time. I think we might have even had 10 at one time.
Oh yeah.
Inside the free company, we, just as Happy was talking about earlier, he has a link shell with his raid team. Even though his raid team is a part of the free company, you have many, many different groups inside the free company. And as a raiding FC, it's what we're trying to build. We're trying to build a community of raiders that can, bounce ideas off each other and grow all together as one whole, towards our common goal of all wanting to, be ambitious and, better ourselves as players.
Happy?
He's speaking for Elysium. He's higher up than I am. So. That's why when people always ask me recruitment. Yeah, that's why when people always ask me recruitment, I'm like, you might want to ask someone who actually does all that stuff on Elysium.
Okay, and that's another thing. Recruitment. How should you recruit for your FC? How does the FC recruit? Is there a certain, I know some FCs like yours has requirements, but when it comes to just general casual FCs, what should one do if you're in charge of an FC? What should recruitment be like?
Well, like you were alluding to, it does sort of depend upon your goals as a player, because as if I were leading an FC, or if you were leading an FC, you want to you never want to ask somebody. You never want to ask something of someone that you're not comfortable with yourself, if that makes any sense. So assess your goals as a player and recruit around that. That's the place you start. And as you're recruiting players, find things that are important to you. What's important to you? Is player skill important to you? Is attitude important to you? Is all the above important to you? And develop a recruitment process. Be it through an interview or an application that they fill out on an online website. Develop a means of checking if they fit the criteria that you're interested in. But before you can do any of that, you have to decide what you yourself as a player are interested in, and then surround yourself with that.
Hap?
He's speaking for Elysium.
I'm not. I'm just talking in general. Let me tell you
this.
The FC leader.
How many free companies have I ever led?
I'm putting you in that seat. You are an FC leader. Congratulations. You are in charge of the Happy Army FC. How would you recruit?
Do you know how I would recruit? Who's here in the stream and who's on Gilgamesh? That's how I would recruit.
No, wait. So you would be that one on Greg. Are you saying you would be that one?
No, I wouldn't even shout. I would just go to my stream and be like, okay, guys, I'm making a free company for the stream. It's the Happy Army. Who the fuck wants in? That's what I would do. And then all of a sudden, everyone's trying to log in at 4 a.m. to make a character on Gilgamesh.
You'd be that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not trying. All I'm trying to do, if I'm making a free company, it's literally just so people have other people to communicate with.
Okay.
Because
so yours would be among the more casual side, and not even
and that's
serious.
because I'm not dealing with the stress of being a leader in a free company. I can't deal with the stress of being a leader of a free company because Layla's not alluding to it too much, but it is a fucking stressful job to manage people.
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have a very significant amount of help surrounding me. It's not just one or two people doing the job. We have a group of people who run the FC. And, because just like you said, it's a really, really, hard to do job when you're trying to do it well.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you're and then if everyone's responsible for everyone else, then everyone else who's running the show, you have to be fucking worried about those people. Because any sort of pillar that falls down, everyone else needs to build back up.
Yep.
And I don't think with the time investment, I could realistically give people a stable pillar with which to have a free company that they could call their own. And I think that's unfair to people, which is why I don't have a fan-based free company.
Gotcha. All right, so really the last thing. I'll give you a scenario. Fox Sly had just made an alt on Greg. I had the leaf over my head.
Oh, he's a leaf.
Yeah.
I'll invite you to the mentor channel.
I'm getting spammed heavily by FC invites, which happens to every new player. It happens. It's going to happen to you, unfortunately. What are some of when looking at it from a new player standpoint, what are some of the pros and cons of joining a free company as a new player?
Pros.
FC buffs.
There you go.
That's the first thing I knew you were probably going to say, FC buff.
Did they say they were offering EXP buff in the shout?
EXP buff. Eat a battle.
There you go. And you win, because 46-49 is going to suck if you don't.
I mean, but really, is that honestly the only benefit?
No. So let me paint a picture for you guys. Give you a little history here. When I first started out on Gilgamesh, which was way back I played the game since beta phase 3. So at launch, when I made a character on Gilgamesh, I rolled with maybe one or two friends, and they were friends that I eventually went into Bind and Coil with. However, you need more than 3 players to go into Bind and Coil.
Yeah.
And
not now.
Well, not now, but back then. And a funny story. So while I was leveling my very first character, the first week of the game, I think I'm level like 27 or something. I'm over at Quarry Mill, and there's a free company shouting in shout chat. Because there weren't many free companies back then, but there were a few that got FC buffs really early, and I didn't have a free company, and I was just kind of lonely while I was leveling, and I wanted people to talk to. So I decided, this free company's offering EXP buff. I want to go see what they're about. So I joined a random free company, and funnily enough, what I ended up doing with I stayed with that free company all the way to level 50 and all the way through my relic. And what I found in that free company was I actually met a handful of players that I found that I really enjoyed playing with, and I started doing content with. We started doing the 4-mans. It was AK and WP back then. We started running those all the time for the Philo tomes, I think they were back then.
Oh yeah.
And getting Philo mats and making guild that way. And then we did our relic together. And one of the players that I met and was playing with is Colby. I met Colby in that free company. Colby is a player who I have gotten to know very well. I've known him for 2.5 years now. He's a former member of Team Updog. He was our bard. This is a player that I've played every single patch with. And I would not have met him had I not, branched out a bit and decided, hey, I want to go be social with these guys because I've got nobody to be social with right now. You're gonna meet people. You're gonna make relationships. You're gonna make connections by joining a free company. These are all things that you're gonna find in a free company when you're starting out as a new player. You don't know what you don't know. You're gonna learn things, and you're gonna have heat of battle.
I mean, in the end,
or if you're what was the one for crafters? God, I forget it.
Who cares? It's a heat of battle. All right.
No.
Yes, heat of battle.
Meat and mead.
And the chocobo one.
Meat and mead.
Meat and mead. That's the food one, right?
Yeah.
That's the food one.
Yeah.
Oh, we know that one very well. You know what else? You know what other one we know really well? Get back on your feet. Back on your feet. We know way too well.
Wait. You actually use that buff in for a
You gotta use it for A4 Savage to do the sack strat. You need
mandatory.
Back on your feet. If somebody disconnects, you gotta zone out and zone back in.
Reduced. I forgot about reduced rates was a really popular FC action back then because of how expensive teleports were back then.
Oh yeah, that was a big one. There was something. Mel says, "Tell me about the time you deleted a character."
Oh God.
What does this have to do with Free Company?
I don't know. That's what Mel asked.
Oh my!
You don't have to do it.
That sounds like Colby put her up to that. Actually.
It sounds like Colby asked himself.
Funny. This is another funny story. The Layla Bell that everyone is familiar with is actually not the original Layla Bell. The original Layla Bell was actually deleted on accident one day.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to go into how or why.
How bad? Oh wait, how bad was it? Like what level?
Well, let me explain to you how bad it was. It was middle of turn 5 progression.
Woo!
It was the middle of turn 5 progression. It was the week we were gonna kill it.
That hurts my soul. That hurts my soul.
I accidentally deleted my character, and I had to use my every account has a one-time item restore, and I actually got them to use my item restore on a character restore. So they eventually restored the data after many phone calls. But that's a dark spot on my Final Fantasy resume.
Oh, Layla Bell.
Jesus, that cut me deep.
Good to know that the original.
Let me tell you guys how painful it is to watch the character. Like that it's hit 0, but it stays on 0 for a while on the screen, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just know in a few seconds it's gone, but it's not gone yet. But you have it gives you 4 seconds to think about what you did.
You need more. It needs to give you more time.
That reminds me of when I first got hacked in WoW, and I logged in, and all my characters were deleted except for one that was just naked with 40 copper. It's like, no.
What I can, because I know some people are going to be like, how on earth do you delete a character next to you? 30 seconds. What I can tell you, it's just ridiculous.